love Michigan sports. Red Wings, Lions, Tigers, Pistons, Michigan State, and the list goes on. And you love beer. Who doesn't? What if we mixed the two together? This is State of My Sports. We'll talk everything Michigan sports, like only we do, and then we'll down our fair share of beer from a local brewery, grading the beer throughout the episode. So pop a cold one on your end, and we'll get busy on ours. This is the State of My Sports.
And this is episode 152. We are at the DeHop's Brewing Company and Cafe, like we always are, every second Tuesday of the month. Different room, but I kind of like it. This is kind of our home room. This is where we started. This is where it all began,
100%.
right? So,
not bad.
Might be a little bit of a different sound, but same place, same beer. That's all that matters, right? We're good to go. After our DeHop's Flight segment, we're going to talk some NFL draft, Detroit Pistons season recap, and adopt our NBA playoffs. And it's going to be a nice quick one, allegedly. I mean, we'll see how that happens, but that's what we're going to talk about, and we'll see how quickly we can get that done. After that, we will see if I can get back on track with a winning Wednesday parlay for our Betting Hero segment. Of course, we'll grade some Michigan beer. Nice. That was a great intro.
Yeah, you pumped?
I'm excited for tonight. I really am. No,
you were going crazy a little bit, right? Doing the setup?
A little bit.
Setup stage with the cameras, stuffing up the ceiling.
I'm usually going crazy. You guys just usually aren't there to witness it. It's usually just set up for you. Usually it's just like a snap of the fingers and it's done.
Got it.
But for some reason, it actually took a process today. So usually I do that like the I Dream of Genie and it just gets done. Yeah, it didn't happen tonight. So I actually had to do it by hand.
Right, yeah. So. It was weird that I had to witness that. I don't like it. Next time I'm going to be later.
Yeah, be late.
And,
yeah, you guys won't see stress.
That reference was on point.
Yeah, I think I nailed it too.
Yeah, you did.
That's what she did, right?
The first time, not the second time.
No? What did I do different?
You got a little head shake in there, that's all. That's
whatever. Oh, well. I'm Sam Waltart. With me today we got Micah Smith, Ryan Waltart, which I removed your name, and John Dornboss working behind the scenes. Before we jump in, I did want to give a quick shout out to our sponsors to help keep this thing rolling and free for our listeners. DeHop's Brewing Company and Cafe is the official brewery of State of My Sports. Mac Web Design helped us get our website up and running. It's basically sitting around doing nothing at this point. I think we got to dig into that. That's on me for sure. And Betting Hero helps us, and you get the best promos available in the sports betting world. Really, I mean, the sports betting thing is getting a little crazy. I mean, I actually put money on the Masters this past weekend, which didn't go well for me.
You did?
Yeah.
Oh, gosh. Didn't you know it was raining?
So I put $25 full dollars. Like, I don't go, like, that's a big bet for, like, a one-and-done type thing. And that was just, like...
full dollars?
Wow. $25. So, all right, what I found.
Thinking?
So the reason why I did 25. So FanDuel has like a promo like for already customers or whatever. It was like if you
quickest
bet
way to lose
$25 on a certain player, and if he makes the top 10, you get your money back.
Yeah.
So I'm like, all right, well, let me do that, and I took Xander Schauffele, and he missed the cut completely. Is that how you say it, John? Schauffele? Schauffele. So yes, would have been the answer.
Correct.
Okay. All right. I did say it right. That's all that mattered, right? No, but I don't know. It really hurt. So I'm not going to do that anymore. And I've been betting on Formula One. We used to do we used to do the read for. It was DraftKings, right? Is that who we did the read for?
Yes.
And then every time we would do a read, you'd have to like call sell the number or whatever, like the phone number to call if you have a problem. Yeah. I'm not to that point yet.
That's
but
good.
I'm a little. I might have to be looking up the number here soon because I forgot what the number is at this point. But
so you want me to call for you?
I want. Yes, I think that's a great idea. Somebody should call for me so my name doesn't get out there.
1-800-SAM is losing too much money.
Too much money.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Got it.
It was only $25, but I don't know. And I have a lot going on tonight, and I don't even want to look at what's going on. But yeah, I don't know. How's Kevin Durant doing? That's all I need to know. No. Anyways, keeping with
they
the theme of the betting, we did our Masters draft like we always do, which was fun. Without Micah, especially, it was even better because we could get like really good players with all 4 of our picks.
Well, you're welcome.
But the results are in. And Ryan, I would say you were in last.
I don't know.
Your first 2 picks
I'd go that far.
were Koepka and Spieth. They both missed the cut. And then you had Cantlay and Watson, who tied at 39th.
I took the safest road, in my opinion.
And it just failed miserably.
It was not good. So I'm thinking John might know what he's talking about when it comes to golf and
yeah.
Masters.
So I would give myself. I guess we never really lay out like the rules.
Yeah.
Of what this thing is that we do with the draft.
Give me the bronze medal though.
Yeah.
But
And you are the master of rules.
What it should have been was 12 points for the highest end of the tournament ranked golfer, and then we work down to 1 point for whoever's golfer finishing last.
Well, that's a great idea.
So then I think
you lost me already.
I think I would have won some points.
You would have won for sure. So I would have given myself. I'm going to give myself
Yeah.
the second place. I took Rahm, who finished at 27th. Dustin Johnson, he finished 12th. Thomas finished 8th. That's actually not terrible.
No.
And Xander, who I lost a lot of money on and I wasn't happy about, he missed the cut, so that really sucked. But, John, I will definitely give you the win. You had the first place player with Scheffler, who was your second pick. Cameron Smith, is that his name? He took 3rd.
Correct.
Which was your first pick. And then you had Hovland, who finished at 27th. And then Burns
Missed the cut.
So
by 1 stroke.
your pick was technically Burns / Tiger Woods. I gave you Burns, so it made us feel a little bit better about our picks.
Yeah, I mean, Tiger barely made the cut.
But he made it, right?
I guess he made some money this weekend.
Where'd
Yeah.
McIlroy finish?
Second, I think, right?
Oh, shoot.
Second.
That's who I would have taken.
Yeah.
Thanks for the text.
He had a heck of a Sunday.
He did, yeah.
Rory, yeah.
So I was listening to Pat McAfee. You guys
Okay.
ever listen to him?
A little bit.
Dude, he's a riot.
He's funny. He's really good. But he took Scheffler, who ended up winning the thing. He took him minus 11 or better, or minus 12 or better, or something like that.
Really?
Oh, geez. Yeah.
And I guess he
Wow.
4-putted or something.
The last hole, yeah. He had a 6-stroke lead going
Yeah.
into the hole, so he took
And he
his time.
4-putted to get to minus 10 instead of minus 12 or 11 or whatever. Then, yeah. So I think he was pretty pissed about that. But
That's a heartbreaker.
yeah, it really was. But anyways, I mean that was kind of where we were at. But Tiger Woods, I mean, what he did is pretty impressive, right? To make the cut and stuff.
Well, yeah, going from, hey, we're going to amputate one of your legs to, oh, you're out on the course walking Augusta.
Yeah. Which
That's impressive.
And making the cut.
I do want to say, I think golfers get a little high and mighty about, when we walk this course, we're up 30 flights of stairs overall. The terrain is so crazy.
Yeah. I've never seen a hill.
Let's calm it down a little bit because one thing that golf is, and John, I know you're a golf guy, so you might want to just take your headphones off for a second so I can get this out there.
Should I cut your mic so I don't hear
Golf
it?
guys are a little crazy when it comes to that's not a talent to walk. I'm sorry.
Especially when you could just breathe and be okay, now I'm all set.
Exactly.
My heart rate's under control. Let me take a swing.
I'm sorry. It's that part of it has never been impressive to me. I don't care. You go golfing with people that can barely walk all the time. Yeah, they can ride in carts and stuff, but a lot of them walk. There's a reason why golf is an old man sport because it's easy. And I'm sorry, but walking.
Mickelson bowed out.
Because he couldn't walk it.
Couldn't walk it.
Yeah, he got
Old man.
his calves weren't holding to him anymore. But I don't know. I just look good for Tiger. I want him to win. And moral victories for Tiger is not going to do me any good personally. That doesn't tickle my fancy.
No.
I'm not going to watch for a moral feel good that Tiger's playing golf because I could wake up tomorrow and be like, you know what? I'm not going to work. I'm going to go golf.
Do we know what the ratings were like?
I don't
Was
know.
it well?
That would be
well-watched?
interesting, John. Can you look that up? What the ratings were for the Masters?
Because I didn't watch hardly at all. I did watch a little, but not I didn't sit down to watch the Masters.
So when I'm at work, I pull it up and then just have I listen to it. That's kind of what I did when Xander Schauffele was struggling because I wanted to really pay attention to that. But did they come out with any ratings, John?
According to CBS, the final round of the 2022 Masters was the most watched golf telecast on any network since the final round of the 2019 Masters that Tiger won on his comeback.
Really? I mean, it's a Tiger effect, right? Even with all the talented players, like Scheffler coming on, didn't he like get to number 1 quicker than anybody else or something like that?
It's his 4th win this year on tour.
Insane.
And he's one of 2 players to ever win a major, 4 tournaments, and what they call like a World Golf Championship. Okay. All in the same season. Tiger Woods has done it 5 times as the only other player.
Whoa. I've heard of him.
On average, 10.173 million viewers, 7% increase from last year's Masters tournament. Wow. Tiger effect.
Yeah, Tiger effect for sure.
Yeah, no, for sure. But
no, good for them though.
Another thing that's going on this weekend, Ryan, you wanted to talk a little bit about the start of the Tiger season. We don't want to dig into them a ton, but like, what are you seeing so far? And to kind of set you up, so listening to sports talk all day, every day, Monday was like a disaster. People were pissed, like, I can't believe this happened. Like, this is so bad. This team's going to be so bad.
Oh, my gosh. People overreact
Overreaction
so much.
is insane. And then they win yesterday, and then the overreaction this morning was insane. It's so funny. And I love it, though. This is exactly what we want for as Tigers fans, is overreact. I don't care what John from... Sorry, John, but I just threw a name out there. John from Kalamazoo cares about the Tigers weekend, personally. But, like, as long as I care enough and people care, that's a good thing. But what are you seeing so far?
Well, I see inconsistency. I mean, it's a young team still. It really is. Javi Baez has 2 big, important hits already. He's been striking out. You know, like he's giving exactly what we knew what he was going to be. When the game is on the line, he wants the big moment. He's taking care of business a couple of times. No, I like the way this lineup is set up right now. I like the depth of our lineup. Torkelson got his first hit today, I believe.
Yeah, it was a double. Yeah, it was cool.
And he scored and everything.
It wasn't like a hard hit ball or anything, but it worked.
Hey, he got it out of the way though.
It's not how, it's how many.
No, but and he's been struggling in a lot of people's minds. But you know, he had like 4 walks in the first 11 at bats of his career. Like, I'm not that worried about the guy. Just get on base.
Yeah.
And I think the depth of this lineup is something we haven't seen in several years. We haven't seen good hitters at the 7 and 8 hole, and I'm pretty excited still. We've been through the pitching staff 1 time now. So every starting pitcher's got 1 attempt, and what have we seen? Exactly what we expect. It's the ups and downs.
Expect. What most fans should. People that understand baseball will know that this is exactly what we are going to kind of see.
If you asked anybody coming out of spring, who would be the more inconsistent day 1 starter? Would it be sorry, I'm blanking.
Casey Mize, Tarek
Skubal, or Matt Manning? Like, out of those 3, who would be the most consistent and give you the best day 1 outing? Nobody would have said Matt Manning, right?
No, at least people that don't really pay attention.
Yeah, not through the spring.
Yeah.
Just based on the spring, you'd say Tarek Skubal's probably ready. He's gonna dominate a little bit, or at least give a good outing. Casey Mize might give you a quality start, and we'll see what we get out of Matt Manning. It was the complete opposite. So
Casey Mize was close to a quality start, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So like his wasn't terrible. He fought it a lot, which I think is what we saw a lot last year too. Like his bad outings were not terrible. They're not like blowing things up, but like he was fighting it. He was difficult. Even the good innings were difficult, right? But I mean, what are the problems that you're seeing early on? I know it's early, but it's still fun to talk about, right?
Yeah, I think we're seeing this spring, the lack of having a real spring has really impacted these pitchers more than anything. Yeah. So I'm just seeing inconsistency from throwing strikes, from being able to pitch inside. Yeah. When a pitcher is on his game, that's when he lives inside, and that's what we saw out of Casey Mize come the summer. Yep. And Tarek Skubal, that's what we saw during the spring and all that. But now you're going from spring weather, going back up north, and they're going to be pitching in this cold, nasty, wet type of atmosphere, and it's tough on them. But that's baseball. Yeah.
What do you think about the hitting so far?
Same kind of thing. I really think if you look at the difference between demographic or geographically, I guess if you're going around to California, down south with Texas, those guys don't have to worry about the weather that Detroit's seeing right now. Yeah. And so I think that plays a lot in just northern climates and how difficult it is to adjust from the spring and then just jump right into it. Like I was playing in snow in college baseball, and then by the time it was 55 and rainy and windy, I was like, yeah, this is awesome. Yeah. But these guys aren't doing spring training in the snow. Like they're in warm climate, and then they're coming back up north. So I think I'm not worried about anything, honestly.
worried, I think, would be definitely an overstatement. I think what we're seeing is what we are concerned about kind of with this lineup. It's like, yeah, there's a lot of depth and way more depth than we have seen in the past, but you're going to have those swing and miss guys, and if it's off, it's going to be off. And I feel like the quality of at-bats have been a little disappointing, and the lack of a threat inning in and inning out. Like, they're not – it just seems so easy for the opposite pitcher. And, again, it changes, and it's a small, very small sample size, but I'm a little concerned with that it just doesn't seem to be consistent, and they're not making it difficult on the opposing pitcher.
Yeah, and I almost see the opposite. I see a lot of grinding type of at-bats, which means that they're getting into their groove, but they're just not making solid contact. And then, like, Robbie Grossman's hitting 059 right now through 5 games, and he's actually had through the first 4 games, I don't know about today's, but through the first 4 games, he had, to me, some of the best swings of the season out of our whole lineup, and he just wasn't getting the results from it yet. It's coming.
All right. Micah, what do you want to talk about today?
Oh, I love this because they are at the spotlight of sports right now. The LA Lakers.
Okay. Yes. Yep.
Awesome.
So they made the playoffs, right?
You would think with the
10
payroll,
possible teams to make the playoffs nowadays.
Ooh,
absolutely not. They bombed their entire season. They ended up 33-49, missed the postseason by a long shot. A long shot for the Lakers, okay?
Yeah.
Not for the Pistons, okay? Because we ended up pretty ugly. But so the Lakers have the number 5 salary, cap hit salary, okay? Overall. Pistons are at 28. There's a 10-win difference between the two teams. But, I mean, how do we feel about where we're standing versus the Lakers? I know it's a very, very far stretch from one end to the other.
Yeah.
But yet it seems so close that we're not spending this salary that they are, because we're sitting at 28.
28th in salary.
28th in salary.
I mean, I think everybody in the world knew the Russell Westbrook experiment was not going to work except for LeBron.
Yeah, I think that's
how weird is that?
And, like, Russell Westbrook is not a good basketball player.
No, not anymore. Not without the ball in his hands. Like, he needs to be the 38% field goal percentage guy, but just like, oh, I'm going to try hard and volume you to death. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, but when you're just like a role player and you don't even have the ball in your hands most of the time, and then when he gets it, what do you shoot threes? Like, okay, not a good situation.
So I love that you brought up Westbrook, because this is I'm gonna provide a quote for you from him. He says, "I just felt like I was never given a fair chance to be who I needed to be to help this team." So, with that, how many games do you think he played out of 82 games?
My guess would be like 79.
I'm gonna say 64.
He played 78 games.
Wow.
And he was never given a...
and I'm sure his minutes were out. He was probably 38, 40 minutes a game, probably, right? Like,
no, he sat a lot of fourth quarters.
Oh, he did?
Well, yeah, because he wasn't
so bad.
doing very well, yeah.
No, all right. Russell Westbrook. I'm not a basketball guy, obviously. John, and you look like you got something to say, so maybe you should just say it
I'm
before I put my foot in my mouth.
I'm just waiting for you. Waiting to either correct you or jump on the train.
Russell Westbrook is, for what he gets paid, is ridiculous, and that's part of their salary their salary issue, and is he's getting way overpaid for what he brings. Like, what he does can be done by a $7 million guy, and what is he, probably like a $40 million guy, $45 million?
Yeah, I mean, he's a liability outside of 16 feet from the hoop.
He's in one of the most overpaid. He's probably one of the highest paid guys on the team, probably third, right?
The further he gets from the hoop, the worse he is at shooting, passing, and handling the ball.
Yeah, this has been year after year. This has been coming for a little while now.
Yeah,
and he was in his prime. This is a classic example of somebody who never has had elite basketball skill, but had an elite basketball desire and a physical ability. And so his athleticism has gotten him by for a really long time. And we're talking like elite of elite type of athleticism. He's now in his mid-30s, it's failing him at this point, and his decision making. It seems like he's starting to.
I feel
he's just getting so bad.
I feel his pain because I sit and play on Sundays. I play hockey on Sundays, and I feel like one of the most unathletic people on the ice. I am doing stuff that I have never done in my entire life. Like, I'm literally just passing to the wrong person because my brain thought that like it was just like my brain's doing one thing and my body's doing another, and I'm sure he's going through that. Like, that's tough when you're an elite talent,
yeah,
and then all of a sudden it just drops off. Like, I feel sorry for Westbrook.
It's so weird. You should be in the prime of your career.
I should be, right? It's crazy. We're probably the same age. He's probably 33, 35. I don't know.
Westbrook is the highest paid player on that team.
Is he really?
$44 million.
Wow.
LeBron's at 41.
That's insane. But tying it to the Pistons, it's like, we kind of talk about all the time, like, and this is more me than anything. It's like the Pistons will never get the high free agent. They'll never be able to bring in somebody, and that's a problem.
Yeah. And you're talking one, and they have three.
Yeah, but here we are. It's like you look at the way that all of this is failing now, and
right.
I mean the Nets, their duo or trio. They had to break it up and try a new one mid-season and see if they can figure that out. The Lakers trio obviously didn't work. Like,
right.
It seems like it's starting to fade away from the super team. Got to get the big free agent, and that's how you become a true contender. Is that kind of what you're thinking? Right?
Yeah, that's kind of what I was going towards, is tying it into the Pistons. Do we need a big three? Do we need a big two? What is it? I mean, do you really want to follow what has been going on for the last, 5 seasons?
I brought this up.
Probably more, honestly. Since LeBron went to the Heat.
I brought this up last time when we talked about not building through the draft or different ways to build an NBA team. And I told you guys, like, this is not – it's a little outdated.
It's transitioning,
yeah,
for sure.
We're getting into the point where it's out with the old, in with the new, and there's a whole bunch of young, skilled players out there that are competing at a really equal level to these elite athletes. Now, Kevin Durant is still dominating the NBA, but the NBA has
100%.
changed. But the NBA has changed where you can get dominating 3-point percentages based on role players who are really good at what they do. The whole 3-and-D thing, that's within the last 8 to 10 years. Mm-hmm. That's changed the NBA.
So I have a question for John and Ryan then. And so at this...
Whoa. Yes?
You're right?
Do you agree with Ryan?
I can't answer a question? This is for them only?
Well, whoa, what an overreaction.
Man, really caught off guard. Holy smokes.
Yeah,
I hope I remember my question.
Out with the old, in with the new. So
gone with the I feel like you guys took it like I was actually
out with the Taco Tuesday, in with the overreaction Tuesday.
Sorry, ask them their really important questions, Micah.
We were so startled. That's the thing. Like, I didn't know if the podcast was still continuing. I thought something happened.
What's funny? I thought he lost a bet.
I'm going to go,
Yeah, I thought the checks that he writes this weekly didn't go through or something.
Okay.
I'm just going to go on my phone, like Instagram or something, while you guys answer these questions for Micah. Because I can't say anything. Just shut my mic off. Might as well, right?
So
at this point.
It might drown out a little bit of the background noise.
From playoff fringe teams, I mean, how do you think these teams are going to look at it going forward in the next 2 to 3 seasons? Are they going to look at a lot of pending high-name free agents, or do you think they're going to start trying to look at the way the Bucks kind of did things?
I was about to answer first.
You mean the homegrown aspect and not getting.
I mean, you can answer. You don't have to throw your phone.
I might though.
Well, I think there's a lot of examples. So people are bringing up the Grizzlies, with the young, talented, length athlete, but you get your ball dominant guy, and then you get a bunch of supporting guys who can play defense.
Right.
So that's their way. You can go the Hawks way, where you just try to dominate on offense as much as possible, and put it in his hands and say, go win the game for us.
Right. So where do you see this going is kind of the overall question. Like, where do you think these teams are going to – I mean, do you see big twos, big threes, or do you see star player back to kind of the way it was, a lot of supporting role type players?
If we're saying the league is cyclical, I would say we're going back to like the 80s, 90s, early 90s at least, where it's like teams are pitted against each other. And I think maybe that Antetokounmpo had a big part of that because he wants to stay where he is and prove to everybody else, say, no, screw you. Yep. Now all these other teams are also doing it. Yeah, maybe that is the best example then. Now the league is reacting to the Bucks' success. Right, and now they have to. It's not like you can just go buy
through the
NBA
draft.
championships.
Yeah, you build through the draft,
and they don't have
develop.
to have a top 3.
The
top
biggest
4
thing
salary.
that this tells me is what I've been trying to tell people for a long time: is LeBron James should not be the GM and head coach of his own team.
What do you think, John?
Stop getting your friends on your team.
I thought the handling of Coach is it Frank Vogel?
Yeah.
Did you guys? I mean, did you hear that too? Adrian Wojnarowski or whatever, the Adam Schefter of the NBA.
Yeah.
Oh, Wojbaum guy.
Woj, yeah, he broke the news after their last regular season game.
That was
awkward.
awkward.
The question was brought up in the post game. The Lakers won, right? All their high-paid athletes, players, they sat out the last game. So they just ran all their young guys out there. They ended up winning the game. And the first question to Frank Vogel after the game was, Wojnarowski just reported that your job is gone. Like you've been fired before he was ever even told anything. Wow. So I think that just speaks a lot to just like the culture in LA. There's changes that need to be made like at higher levels. Clearly, whoever approved of the Russell Westbrook trade is not adequate at basketball, the game.
The same GM as the Miami Dolphins.
You know, what's funny, too, is there were a lot of other free agents that wanted to go to L.A. and play with LeBron. A lot of guys that are having career years right now. DeMar DeRozan, Kyle Lowry, these guys that went to other teams, took less money, went to other teams that are going to be playing in the playoffs. So, it's just the chemistry thing. I think that's what it's come down to in the NBA. All these guys are friends now. Nobody's enemies like they were back in the day. Guys can drive through the lane and not get fouled. When that changed in the NBA, everybody became friends. You don't got guys getting knocked down on the floor like they were back in the late 80s, early 90s, mid 90s, and late 90s even. Physical basketball. So I feel like the Pistons are doing it right. I think LA's got a mess. They got a mess to handle.
Absolutely.
I guess the worst part about that whole story is hearing Juwan Howard's name floated around as potential coaching candidate to go to LA.
That'll be really interesting to see how it all plays out. I don't expect him to. He'll probably interview. You'll kind of go through the rigmarole, if you will. But for him to leave now does not make sense at all with his other son coming in. Like this is, and who wants to go to the Lakers
as your first job?
Yeah, like that's not what people. You're basically setting yourself up for failure at that point.
Every established coach that's gone there, their careers just doing it outside of Phil Jackson.
Yeah, it's like the Lions of the NBA. Like if you get fired, you won't get another job.
Now it is interesting that Westbrook does. It sounds like he might have a trade opportunity out there too.
To get traded?
Which it was originally thought that it was going to be impossible to move that contract. Because he is higher paid than LeBron.
Yeah.
But the Indiana Pacers have 2 guys on their team that they're looking to get rid of. It's the I don't know, shooting guard from the Kings, the previous one that they just traded for.
Buddy Hield,
and Malcolm Brogdon. So those 2 combination, it's rumored that trade might actually go through, and that would be wild.
I've heard like 3 other teams too that are willing to move like low end assets to take on the contract to help their cap situations.
If I remember correctly, we were talking a little less than a year ago from right now. We were talking about the Russell Westbrook. The Pistons have gotten involved with that? Thank you, Lord, that we did not, because I think I might have been supportive of it.
You and I were furious
that we didn't
land them.
Yeah. Yeah, that's why we don't know basketball, right? I'm okay with it. I'm all right with that.
One guy that does know basketball, King Kyle, just commented, the Suns are the best example. They drafted great talent, and then they brought in brought in one free agent, Chris Paul.
That's actually a really good example for the Pistons because they're building through the draft, and you have the cap space to go pay for the right guy, not necessarily the guy that everybody's all excited about, because Chris Paul kind of had that reputation of being like, he's never going to win, blah, blah, blah. He's getting old. Well, if you get the right guy, not the guy, that's what the Pistons can do. And we'll get into the Pistons here in our we have a main topic for them here coming up soon.
That felt like the main topic.
Yeah, I mean, we're done. Actually, we're done with the Pistons now. Yeah, just cross that off.
On to the Lakers.
No, I mean, it's interesting to see the way that the league's kind of changing, though. But, John, did you actually have a flight topic today? You said you were going to give it to me, and you never did.
I left it open. All right, not trying to lie, I was going to see how the food was tonight and maybe just hype up this DeHop's menu. I have yet to indulge in a meal from DeHop's Cafe and Brewing.
That's a perfect flight segment. Doesn't it have to be sports?
Oh, every taco was great. Had the beef, chicken, and pork taco. I also tried the loaded fries that were amazing with the beer cheese and the bacon and the green onion chives. I guess my backup topic real quick was just kind of recapping. The University of Michigan had a heck of a 2021 calendar year in sports.
Yeah, let's talk about it.
Women's gymnastics, national champs. Women's softball lost in the regionals to number 6 Washington. Women's soccer lost to number 1 Florida in the NCAA tournament. Women's basketball lost to Louisville.
Yeah.
Men's football, we all know, finished 4th place overall, I guess.
Or third.
Third, yeah. Tied for third. Lost to, the national championship in Georgia in the semifinals. Men's wrestling, 5-2 on the season in their matches, finished 5th in the NCAA tournament. That's their 3rd straight top 5 finish in the NCAA tournament. I'm not big into wrestling. I just looked that one up. We all know what men's basketball did. 13 regular season lost team, but they made another Sweet 16 run.
Was it 6 straight or something like that?
I think 4 or 5 straight. Yeah, because I think Eli Brooks has played in 5 Sweet 16s, which is crazy. Or 4 maybe. Anyway, and then and then men's hockey most recently lost in the Frozen Four. I didn't really watch much of the game, but it sounded like they had a hell of a season, and
that was a stinger, man.
To finish in the top 4, that says a lot.
Stacked team like that. That feels like one that they let get away, and then they lost to Denver. Or they lost to Denver. And Denver won 6-2 or something.
I thought it was 5-1.
5-1, same thing.
In the national championship game, so Denver.
Both ways.
Yeah, Denver went on to win it.
Yeah, Denver went on to win it. They were actually down 1-0, I think, heading into the third.
Really?
Denver was, yeah. And it was funny because one of the guys that I was watching with was he took the over 4.5, and everybody was just giving it to him. Like, oh, you're such an idiot to going over 4.5, and all of a sudden, boom, 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 boom. Like,
really?
Yeah, I think there were 2 empty net goals, and he's just like walking out backwards, all pumped and stuff. It was so fun.
So I don't know if I missed any other sports, but it sounded like volleyball and men's baseball both had mediocre seasons, above 500. I think women's field hockey is a really good program too, but I didn't look up the results. But anyway, not trying to sound like what do they call
Michigan
that?
Homer?
Partial. But yeah.
I think we need to have a flight segment about state now, right?
Well, maybe next week.
We have some angry listeners. Yeah, we got to make it fair.
We can come up with their highlights.
This world is about fairness.
Okay.
So
it'll just be about the running back, right?
I would say that was about 3 minutes and 85 seconds,
yeah,
which is over 3 minutes.
I really tried to.
We got to just make sure that we dial that in and we give state the exact same amount of time. Otherwise, some people might be very, very offended.
I tried to hurry through it too, so if I got to talk faster next week, I totally will.
Well, we'll have to slow it down to make it.
State has Izzo. Yeah, but we're good.
Izzo, yeah.
Kenneth Walker for a year.
Honestly, Michigan should just stop winning.
Yeah.
We'll talk about Kenneth Walker. We'll get there.
Yeah, exactly. Every time we talk about Kenneth Walker, that counts as talking state, right?
Absolutely.
So
giving him credit.
That was good. Before we
for the 5th running back,
move on from our DeHop's flight segment, I want to remind everyone that DeHop's Brewing Company and Cafe is serving incredible food and pouring some of the best craft beer in West Michigan. Chef Dan's revamped food menu, full of tacos and the loaded fries.
Tacos were good tonight.
The tacos were honestly better than they've ever been.
Yeah, they were good.
I thought they were dialed in for sure. So hats off to Chef Dan. I can't take my hat off because I have headphones on.
Chef Dan.
I couldn't decide if I liked the chicken or the pork better tonight. I couldn't decide. Both good.
Chef Dan RD.
Oh, I like that. Chef Dan RD.
Pork 100%.
Yeah, I think I agree.
And I lost where I'm spot. And head brewer Ben. Ben's rotating taps, wine, and ciders make the hops perfect for whatever you have going on. From dinner with the family, like we had tonight, late night drinks with friends, which we're doing right now, and everything in between. I think I've done that. Have I said that before? Is that what you're laughing?
I'm
laughing at yourself?
I'm laughing at myself.
I missed it.
I just said Lieutenant Dan, and then I'm thinking about, you got new legs.
You got new tacos.
Sorry. Off topic.
The Ben and Dan duo is putting a ton of their time and energy at making DeHop's a staple in the West Michigan restaurant community that we highly recommend to our friends and listeners. Taco Tuesday, which is tonight, Stein Night Wednesdays, and some incredible specials on Fridays and Saturdays. I highly recommend following them on Instagram and Facebook, where they share some great pictures of their weekly specials, and man, that'll get your mouth watering pretty darn quick. DeHop's is the official brewery State of My Sports in 2022, and if you mention State of My Sports, you get a nice little discount off your first beer.
In 2 or 3 weeks?
Yes.
Let's
2
get
weeks.
this popping right
2
now.
weeks from Thursday.
Hey.
Ryan looks very confused. Do you know what it is?
Draft party.
Oh, all right.
Get out of here.
It didn't look like you knew what we were talking about.
I have been prepping for this draft party.
Yeah,
Come on.
I mean, with the
I ain't
rankings,
confused.
all that good stuff.
You confused.
I'm confused. No, but the watch party. John, do you got that up on the screen for our viewers?
I do. I'm just waiting for it to load on Facebook
Look at
Live.
that flyer.
Let's
Look at that
go.
thing. We got our logo. We got the Hops logo. We got the time, which is 8 o'clock. And so for the people that can't come to DeHop's and join us for the live party, just watch the live stream and throw all your comments in. We'll talk about it. Lions got 2 picks. They got the second pick and the last pick.
It's going to be a late night. That's
More,
dangerous.
too?
Having,
You're
having,
going to trade back into the first for 3?
Hey, you never know.
What?
Or
Oh,
trade back
what?
from 2 and then add a third.
having to stay up for the final pick of the first round, you know.
Oh,
that's
going to be terrible.
Man, I'm going to be so...
I'm going to take work off the next day. It's been great. Sorry,
We're going to
Sam.
be drinking beer.
Sorry.
We're going to be here at the Hops. It's going to be a great time.
I take it back.
Water.
I take it all back.
Water.
There might be some giveaways. I don't know. I'm making stuff up at this point. But just come and join us. If you listen to the podcast,
It'll be a lot of fun.
look, we have way more listeners than I know. Like, my mom and dad aren't the only listeners. I know that based on the numbers.
Yeah, there's
So
at least
there's
a
people,
third.
there's other people out there that I don't know are listening to this. And I want to meet you. I want to talk to you. I want to know what you think about the Lions draft and all that good stuff. You know?
And the best part about the night, besides the draft, okay, food specials and drink specials, you don't have to like football. You don't even have to like sports. Come out, hang out with us, spend some time, spend some money here. They've got great food. They've got great beer. Come out and hang
They
out.
get free pool.
And they have free pool.
You can literally save money by coming on
Like you can
2 weeks
swim,
from now, Thursday.
Like swim in the pool?
You can make money, or if you want to gamble on a pool game, do it. And start making money. You
There
could
you
walk
go.
out with more money than you came in with.
Sam's
And
Sam's
have
about
a
to have
little nice buzz.
He's about to have a Thursday night parlay over here at the pool. pool
Yeah,
table.
I'm going to be, just send me your handicaps, and I'll be betting on them. I'll set.
DeHop's
some-
Brewing, Standale, Michigan.
Yes.
Come on out.
We're going to create an event on the Facebook, and we're going to send it out to all of our likes, obviously.
Do it.
But send it to other people, too. Thank you guys for listening to our rant there. That was good. Is that the end of it? That's the end of the hop stuff.
Well, it was. I wouldn't say good.
Drinking craft beer, having fun, and talking sports in the state of Michigan. You're listening to State of My Sports.
All right, so the Detroit Pistons season is officially over, and we got to put a nice little recap on the season. Ryan, you can tell us what was great, what was bad, and tell us why we were wrong heading into the season. But first, I did want to say the Pistons finished the season 23-59 overall. They finished with the second worst record in the Eastern Conference, 1 more win than Orlando, and the third worst record overall with 3 more wins than Houston, and 3 more wins in 10 less games than last year. Vegas had the over-under set at 25.5, which we talked about in our season preview. We kind of all had the over. The rough start was kind of the biggest issue here. And the health early on made this team not gel quick enough. And to be honest with you, I'm 100% okay with it. I'm okay with where they ended up.
Oh, yeah.
Are you forgetting one important thing, Sam?
I probably am. What am I supposed to do here?
Are you forgetting just one thing?
Oh, beer introductions.
We forgot to introduce a beer.
Oh, my gosh. I'm sorry.
What are we doing?
We
at
just
the
started a
Hops?
segment, though, so we can't stop.
Okay.
But that's how
the
we always
show
do it. We
sheet.
always stop it.
Oh, yeah. Never mind. Never mind. Take it back.
I
let's-
only had to call
Somebody-
you out because Kyle called you out.
Kyle,
Man.
the podcast master that shows up once
Kyle,
every
you
year and a half.
You should like come around. It sounds like you know what you're doing.
Surprised he's not here tonight.
The poor man is working remotely, okay?
Yeah,
Give him a break.
Yeah, exactly. COVID made him a remote podcast.
A remote listener.
Anyway, thank you, John, and thank you, Kyle. You son of a. Let's talk about what we're drinking tonight. I'm sorry. Somebody tell me what we're drinking tonight. I just need a drink.
What is it? Is it Stand Delicious?
No.
You gotta tell me what it is.
The Juju one.
Oh.
Which I'm very uncomfortable saying that.
Why?
I don't know. It sounds
Juju
sounds
Smith
racist.
Lager.
Juju Smith Lager. Yeah.
Oh,
It's
okay.
a brand new beer. Brand
Good
new beer
lager.
last week.
I thought you were yanking my chain earlier when you said Juju Smith. I'm drinking that, and I'm like, Juju Smith Schuster? What?
I think that's what Ben was going for.
Definitely what it is. 5%. This unique lager takes the traditional light body and refreshing qualities of traditional lagers and combines it with white wine.
Wait, what?
Really? And combines it with the white wine, fruit, and grape profile of the Hallertau Blanc hops for a nice and juicy brew. Dry hopped and the extra burst for flavor and aroma. Wow. Really?
Yeah, that's
That's a lot
loaded.
for a lager.
Yeah, it's loaded.
And I get it because there's so much flavor in this lager. There's a lot of flavor.
Yeah, way
Lagers-
way more.
Obviously, we talk about it all the time. Every episode, we talk about beer, obviously. And it seems like every time we drink a lager, it's not really my style, but this is a really good lager.
Yeah,
I'm
every
wondering
time.
if lagers are starting to become our style.
Yeah.
Because they're tasting better and better. And I love how light
have said it better.
lagers are.
Yeah.
Like, I think we got to change that as part of the
I
script.
know. Well, it's like the IPAs, they get so heavy, right?
They do. Like, honestly, episodes, and I'm being real honest here, episodes that we go hard on an IPA, that's the last thing I want to drink on a weekend. I'm like,
Yeah.
I
Then you
don't know.
become a wine or a whiskey
I'm like,
guy like me.
I'm gonna drink some wine
Yeah.
tonight, or
A wine
maybe-
guy.
Like if
I like
it
it.
has to be a beer, maybe I'll just go with like a Bud Light or
I
Summer
agree.
Shandy
Yeah,
or something.
I think the lighter the beers, for me lately, the light beers have just been my
which is
style.
weird because when we started this thing, it was like IPAs are our thing.
Dark, heavy.
Dark, yeah. I mean, when was the last time we've done a dark beer? I
Yeah.
don't think we've done a dark
Stay
beer.
away.
We went through all winter doing like IPAs.
Hefeweizens.
Yeah. That's where we stretch ourselves to, are the Hefeweizens. This is a big stretch for us. No, but the lager, man. What do you guys think so far? I mean, now that we're like 6 beers in since our Deflate Hops segment was so long, but I'm okay with it. I love it. The rest will be quick.
I think it's great. It's nice and crisp.
It's
We'll
like
talk about it.
It's like the richest color lager you're gonna find.
I'm surprised how much flavor's in this thing. I really am. John, what do you think?
It's good. I can see where the wine comes from. It's like on the
Grapes?
drier end. Yeah. Well, yeah, that's where wine comes from.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
I learned that the other day.
Yeah,
Important.
the white grapes.
White grapes.
Smells kind of dry, like a lager. Like
Yeah?
A wine lager. Yeah.
All right, so now that we've done our beer introduction.
We got one other beer intro.
Yeah, I
Oh,
can smell
yeah.
the wine.
Yeah.
The wine connoisseur.
Yeah. Carrie had actually earlier at DeHop. She must have been here. Did she leave work early to get here for happy hour?
Why didn't she tell me?
I don't know, but she had a max power at DeHop's
Ooh.
tonight.
Oh, really?
So we're just gonna wait on that grade until
Yeah, I'm interested in what she thought about that.
Hopefully we don't skip that.
That's like
segment.
what, 10%? I
What?
think that was. I think the max lager is 10, or the max power. I mean, sorry,
Yeah,
is like
it's,
a 10%.
it's over. It's over 10.
It is up there.
It's over.
Yeah, it's over.
10.2.
Hopefully
She
didn't.
drove home?
Yeah, hopefully she didn't get home or get here too early, right?
Yeah.
But
She
yeah,
had
hopefully she did get
1/10
home.
of one.
Gracious.
She had a 10th of a 10th. So
Hopefully it was in a flight glass.
yeah, for real.
Confirmed.
Can't have that.
All
driving.
5
All right, so now I
glasses.
want to ask you guys, what would you do in my situation here? Do we hit another bumper?
No.
Pretend that we didn't, or do you
No,
just
no,
kind
no.
of jump right into
Let's
the
jump back into the
Pistons? All
Let's just introduce the Pistons
All right.
real quick.
I'm gonna end up with where they ended up. They ended up with 23 wins and 59 losses. Vegas had them at 25.5 over under, and that's kind of where we were at. Was we were all confident they were gonna go over that. Obviously, they didn't. I think we know why. But I think overall, it was a successful season again, and it's weird because it looked terrible at times, absolutely terrible. But then the way that they kind of finished, you had the excitement of players that we really don't like. I mean, Cade was out quite a bit, but we were seeing contribution from players that we need to learn more about
Yeah.
heading into this draft. And that, I mean, it was really weird season.
This was a team without an identity going in. So last year there were some proven veterans on the team. There were guys like Mason Plumlee. Is Mason Plumlee a dominant player in the NBA? No, but he knows who he is. He's not going to do too much or too little. He does his job. So this year we had a whole bunch of young guys who are just trying to figure themselves out, learn where they belong on the team. Is Saddiq Bey really a good three-point shooter, or is he a one-year wonder as a rookie? I don't know. We'll find out, Mm-hmm. And like, where does Cade fit in this whole thing? Cade is a rookie. Do we expect great things from him? Yeah, but like that hasn't been worked out yet. Especially with a guy like Jeremy Grant on the team, you don't know how that dynamic is going to go with a guy who has all the expectations in the world, and then the guy who thinks he's the best player on the team. So that's where we started this season off, and I think the season went really close to what we were expecting.
Yeah, and where they ended up, I think, is the key here is they ended up third worst record in the league, like I already talked about, which is really important because they currently have a 52.1% chance of a top 4 pick and a 14% chance, which is the tied for the best odds for the first overall pick. And look, this year isn't nearly as important as I think last year was to go get a guy like Cade. And I know we had our questions about Cade heading in and wondering if Jalen Green was actually the better pick, blah, blah, blah. Not getting so much into that. But here it's like we already know we have the guy. Now it's like you can fall into the top. And I think the farthest you can fall in the NBA is 3 spots, right? So they can go from 3 to 6 if they get the worst draw possible. I might be wrong on that, but I'm pretty sure that's
7.
what it is.
I just heard today that it might be 7 is the worst they could do. So
Okay.
it might be 4 now. And now I'm looking at this and like Houston that has 52% odds of being in the top 4, which means they must have a 48% odd of being in number 5.
Outside the
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
So it's possible they changed from last year's draft
All right.
structure as well.
Nope, that makes sense. We'll dig in more into that when we can.
Yeah, when it's time.
When it's time to.
Yep.
But the bottom line is that they set themselves up for another very, very high-end talent that can mix with the team. And I think Troy Weaver is the GM, right? I get the coach and the GM names confused, but I think Troy Weaver's the GM.
GM, yeah.
Like his vision for this team, we're starting to see it, and I feel like he is probably salivating at what he could potentially add to this team. Not even getting into the potential trade of Jeremy Grant and 2 top 10 picks possibly in this draft. Like, man, the way that he's built this team with good role guys. Saddiq Bey, I think, is an elite shooter. I think we're going to get into that here soon.
Yeah.
But, like, you add, let's just say 1 top 5 pick. That is huge for this team. Because you already added the first overall pick who has completely panned out. I'm sorry, but he is the rookie of the year in my opinion. He's a stud. And it's not just the play on the court. It is the leadership. It is the way he's kind of embraced Detroit that I think that I've completely fallen in love with, and I'm just head over heels over this guy. But the fact is that they set themselves up by tactfully tanking, if you will, to set themselves up for where they are is great. And I'm so excited to see what they can do because, like we've kind of talked about early on with the new NBA, this is the new NBA, and it's going to be building through the draft before they have a choice to leave and kind of becoming we want the quarterback on a rookie deal and have the really good team around him. Like, you got to have that in the NBA too. And especially for a team like the Pistons in a city like Detroit where you're not going to get the very, very high-end multiple free agents, trades, all that good stuff that people want to come here. Will make them stay here and build something that then all of a sudden people are looking at like, I want to be part of that.
Yeah, you know where nobody wanted to be? Golden State before they were good.
That's a really good point.
So the best way to get people to want to play with you is to be like the Bucks right now, where Milwaukee is a destination at this point. They can go get veteran players because they have a chance at a championship.
And I think Weaver understands that coming from OKC as well. Like OKC as a city, it's not sexy, right?
Yeah.
The one professional sports team. That's it.
Yeah.
That's it.
So before we get in too far, I think there's some quotes that we should probably go through here.
Yeah, so kind of what we were saying heading into the season, and I don't know, I kind of just put the quotes on here, but I didn't really have a structure to it. But one thing that Ryan said heading into the season during our season preview was really exciting depth mixed with zero top-end proven talent. And the way that you said proven talent was to kind of push Cade outside of what we knew heading into the year. And we'll see. But that, I think, is basically spot on of what we saw is they gel well. They're all good role players. But where's the high-end talent that's going to say, get on my back?
Yep.
Well, it was
the role.
A rookie.
What is their role?
It was a rookie. And obviously with Jeremy Grant out, he couldn't be that. But I don't need to get into that. But it was exactly what that quote pointed out to be. It was like, yeah, you're building, but you're just not there. You're not talented enough. Yep. And I'm sorry about it, but it's just the way it works.
Yeah, and maybe
because
if you're
talent
starting,
is how you win an
if
NBA.
you're starting to get better, then you get better together. So yeah, that was exactly what we expected to see. There's a lot of depth. We saw some of that depth. We saw the guys that weren't going to work out anymore, and we moved on from them, which was great to see.
Another thing you said was that it wouldn't surprise me if they were the second or third worst team in the league. Here they are sitting third and worst in the league. Now, one thing that whole conversation was about was the middle getting closer, I think, where, you're going to have 23 wins compared to 20 last year, where you were the, I think, second worst team in the league last year. But it felt like that gap is getting smaller in that area, and the bad is better than what it was this time last year.
And again, when it comes to the having depth but having no proven guys, that means that they also don't know how to win yet. So as much exciting talent as you might have and competitive you are, that's part of the learning curve of like learning what it takes to win in the NBA. And because the middle is so packed in the NBA right now, that just means that you're going to lose those games more often than not right now. Because the guys that are getting pushed out of the league, like the old guys are leaving, new guys are coming up. Those guys aren't gone yet. So they're still impacting the NBA. They're still winning games on a regular basis. Makes it hard for these young teams to do something until they're really ready. And the Pistons, we saw it. They're just not ready to win now this year.
And you compared them to the Grizzlies. You said just get another step closer to becoming the next Grizzlies. And kind of tying back to the conversation about how it's not necessarily about being a place for free agents to go or players want to go play for this team. That's what the Pistons are going to be. And they have to adopt that. They have to build through the draft. It feels like they got a step closer because they have their it guy that can do it. And the fact that he's not a selfish basketball player, I think is a really important aspect of what Cade Cunningham is. He's the best player on the court for our team at least. Obviously, there's a lot of good talent across the league, but he's the best player on our team. A lot of the times, the best player overall on the court, but he's not the selfish player that players are like, do I really want to ride my coattail on him, or will I be a piece with him? And I think that's one thing that he does really well is he's a team guy. He's a city guy. This is what we are doing. This isn't what I am doing, which is very rare in the NBA, and it's great to see. But Grizzlies were 56-26 overall. How close? I'm not asking you, Ryan, to say how close are they to being the next Grizzlies, but what kind of step did they take to becoming something like that?
Well, they got their ball handler. They got the decision maker on their team. They got their Ja Morant. Is he exactly like Ja Morant? No, he's not. But he's skilled. Cade Cunningham is skilled in a lot.
He might be a better overall basketball player.
Well, he's so many different ways he affects the game that Ja Morant doesn't. Ja Morant is maybe the best player in the NBA when it comes to attacking the basket. Like I don't know many players. I can't even think of one that is better attacking. He is an amazing skill. But Cade Cunningham displayed his ability in the month of March, I believe, when he averaged like 22 points, 7 rebounds, 6 assists. He was him and Michael Jordan and maybe Oscar Robertson were like the 3 players ever as a rookie before you're 21 years old to have a month like that. I mean, he just put himself in rare company. And so, yes, they got their ball handler. They got their unique talent, unique size for the position, play defense, offense, unselfish, shoot, score. He does all that.
Yeah.
So now we have a chance going through the draft, and we'll get there eventually. But
and that was as a young player in this league. Young players don't come in and do what Cade did.
And take the responsibility of making decisions down the stretch. We saw him thrive in that role. We also saw a lot of turnovers in that role. What do players improve on over time? Protecting the basketball. That is like one of the main things, the differences between veteran players and young players is their understanding and their critical ability to protect the basketball at all costs. It means that much.
Yep.
And so that's only going to get better with time. I'm not worried about it at all. It was a great learning opportunity. But that's where they made their difference. They identified this guy as their guy. And now they have, okay, let's go check the next box. Let's go get the Jaren Jackson Jr. of this team. Let's go get some scores on this team like the Grizzlies have, off the bench.
Yep.
Let's go get some reliable NBA type of talent, high-end talent to fill the rest of the roster because we got our top one or maybe two guys.
Yep. So we set some goals. And my personal goal, John, hop in if you have anything that you want to add, or if there's comments or something that you want to jump through here. Feel free. I just don't want to shut you off completely with that when we're just rattling stuff off. But
there's a hashtag floating around on the social networks. Hashtag old men like lager.
Old men like lager.
Yeah,
really?
So I guess we're old men now.
Oh,
it's happening.
Gosh, that hurts.
Talking sports and drinking lagers.
Oh man,
it's happening. We're there.
Yeah, it sounds like something Eric would try to start. He was a big lager guy.
Love that guy.
But we did set some goals heading into the year. Well, mine was be competitive, continue to develop, and turn Grant into a trade piece. So let's start on being competitive. I think they were competitive. There were some really, really ugly stretches, though.
They became competitive at the very end of December, beginning of January.
Yeah, and it was night in, night out. They were competitive. Yep. They were beating some very, very good teams. And that's the key. It's not necessarily being competitive against the 8 seed and stuff. No, they were beating the 3 seed that wanted to become the 2 seed, and were trying their best to win this game. And Pistons were there. It just matched up well. You're finding that thing that works for you. I said continue to develop. I think it took some time with the develop stage, with injuries and other stuff. But the way that these guys are starting to find their role, Cade absolutely took over this team. It is his team. Jeremy Grant wasn't traded yet, but it sounds like it's still a possibility. And I think that's the key is, you didn't turn him into a trade piece. He was injured and all that stuff. I get it. Am I frustrated? Was I frustrated? Yeah. But if you can find a way to still do it, then you didn't miss your opportunity, and he still you turn that value into the trade, or the value of signing him will be what you get in return. Yeah. And I'm not saying a player anymore. I'm saying draft picks and find a way. Like the Portland conversation going on, are we going to get another top 10 pick because of that when everything's all said and done? Well, that's the key. And I think this season tells us we have guys that can replace a Jeremy Grant. He kind of led the way and is like, all right, here we go. Now it's your team. He seems to be stepping away, and almost it seems like going to be like a mutual breakup in a lot of ways. It definitely could end up being that way, but what we really saw is this is more Cade Cunningham's team than Jeremy Grant's team. And it was important for us to learn that, because when it finally clicked for us fans and it looked like it clicked on the floor, that's when the Pistons became more competitive. It happened authentically. It wasn't like the organization said, no, I'm going to take the ball out of your hands and you're now the guy. Yep. Like he earned that role on the team, and Jeremy Grant had enough injuries and time off the court where that just happened, like I said, organically. It wasn't forced at all. And I don't think Jeremy Grant dislikes the Pistons at all. It's just now it's like we saw what the Pistons could be without Jeremy Grant. We kind of like it, and we see how replaceable he might be. Yeah. And maybe Jeremy Grant's exactly the guy we need, but maybe with a different flair. Yeah. You know what that reminds me of? No. Dylan Larkin. Might be better off not on the team. Oh, no. Let's stick to the Pistons. We'll get into that some other day. Let's stick to the Pistons. Another thing that I said was, where is it? Oh, sorry. I would take another top 5 pick over the 7th seed and getting swept. And I think that's what we're looking at here is they were, I don't want to say close because it wasn't close, but where they set themselves up for tactfully tanking, I love it. I'm so excited about where this organization is. Yeah, they did a good job. Ryan, one thing you said was Diallo, Frank Jackson, Josh Jackson, Livers. You want to know if they are building blocks for this team. What'd you learn from them? Yeah, quick. I mean, Diallo, Frank Jackson, and Livers, I think they are absolutely part of this team. Building blocks may be a stretch. Diallo is that freak athlete, attack the basket. I think he just works out so many different ways because he took over this team when nobody was on the team anymore. They were all out for either injuries or COVID, and Diallo was our last hope. Now, the injury happened. We'll see about him. Frank Jackson,
again, another injury-riddled season, but, he has the scoring ability, the scoring punch that, and really even the defensive tenacity that you want out of a guy coming off the bench. He has a role off the bench. And then Isaiah Livers didn't see any court time at all until really late in the season, but
super late.
What I saw from him was extremely impressive. I think he matches up so well defensively on multiple positions. That positionless basketball, he fits right into that mold. And not only that, but he can shoot three-pointers.
I think he is going to be a very, very nice role player. He has the tangibles to do so. He showed that on the college level, and he can bring that to the NBA and be one of those. He's not going to be your everyday guy. He's going to come off the bench as he should, and he's going to provide those key plays, and he's going to fill a key role on this team.
Well, and there's a difference with college players that just dominate the game because they are freak athletes, but they're not the decision maker on their college team. What makes them great? And those guys end up going, and they have all this ability that everybody talks about. Isaiah Livers was the other end of this, which was high IQ, run their team, is the heartbeat of the team, the decision maker for the team, and it has a ton of skill, but is never going to have the highest end talent to dominate the NBA. But those are the guys that you fill your roster with. And so we can see it. It's real that Isaiah Livers belongs on the court. I thought the Pistons were better with him out there.
Some breakout players that we kind of talked about heading into the year. I said Cade, he needs to – we need 100% know if he was the right choice. 100%. I don't think there's any doubt.
We 100% know. I don't think he'll win Rookie of the Year, but he should.
Yeah. Ryan, you said you expect Cade to have Lonzo Ball rookie numbers. He won Rookie of the Year his year, right? Which was 15 points, 6 rebounds, 6 assists. Cade finished with 17.4 points per game, 5.5 rebounds, and 5.6 assists.
Oh, just round those numbers up. Come on.
Not that
bad. The Germans would say not so bad.
I think, yeah.
Those are appealing.
The reason why he's not going to win is because the Pistons lost.
Yeah.
As much as they did.
Well, this rookie class was really underrated with even going out of like Franz Wagner. Franz Wagner could have won a Rookie of the Year in a couple other seasons, and he's like maybe 6th in this year's draft. So very deep, really good seasons. Scotty Barnes and Evan Mobley, they're the real deal. I don't want to take anything away from them.
Yep.
Cade Cunningham, I think he had more responsibility on his team, more on his shoulders, and when he was out there and healthy and everything else, I thought he impacted the game more.
One player that you brought up as your breakout player, and I want to more ask you because I have my opinion, and this is major outside perspective. Your breakout player was Isaiah Stewart. From an outside perspective that doesn't watch day in and day out and just kind of listens more than anything to what he's told, I didn't hear much about Isaiah Stewart. Outside of the brawl early on in the year that they had with LeBron, like he seemed like he had a quiet season. Now, what he does is going to be quiet. What he brings to this team is going to be a quiet presence, and it's not going to be big numbers in the guy he's being talked about. What did you think about his season overall? Were you happy with it? Were you a little let down?
I was extremely let down because of what I saw that I expected to break out. So what I saw from his rookie years, his shooting ability, and I thought he'd be an offensive weapon come year 2. I thought he would build on that freshman year and like take off in a way because he did score in college, but you just didn't see the production. You didn't see the build in confidence or the role in his offense to increase in that. I don't know where that music is coming from. No, it's not mine.
I think it's your phone.
It's not my phone.
What was that?
Scoring night so far for Durant, but
is there your phone?
Oh. All right. Anyway,
Oh, is it John? John, what are you watching over there?
Just a little highlight video. I had no idea because the screen's reloading. I was trying to go back to the box score.
A highlight of sports or something else.
He's like, move on, guys.
Jazz.
Something like basketball porn.
All right, Isaiah Stewart.
Yeah.
He again, at the end of this season as well, he started shooting the ball. He started doing more on offense, being included more. I think he has a role in this team. He's not a building block as far as like being a difference maker where he's going to take the NBA by storm. And now we're going to talk about all-stars. I don't think he'll ever be an all-star. I think I'm past that already. But he's important to the team because of what he brings mentality-wise. He's tough. He doesn't complain about fouls. He's not afraid to mix it up with LeBron. I thought that was like set the tone early on. So there's a lot of good, absolute necessary building block.
Yep.
No, I'm not going to go that far.
All right. So the next part was going to be kind of what we learned about certain players, this team in general. I think we kind of already sealed the deal with Cade. We just talked about Stewart. One person that we haven't talked a ton about was Saddiq Bey. He struggled early on in the season, but responded really well. He scored 51 points in the game. People don't do that by accident. That's very impressive. Yeah, it was against Orlando. Yeah, it was a lot of our players were out. Somebody has to score. But he has that. You can see that he has some kind of it factor. Now, it's not superstar mentality. It's not a superstar player by any means. But, man, is he good. He looks like one of the best players on the floor at times.
He is not afraid.
He's not.
I love that about him.
Honestly, sitting and watching that All-Star Young, what do they call it, Rising Stars game, he was the second best player in that.
Behind
Cade.
Yeah, Cade.
Like, that was
I agree.
eye-opening to me. And, look, I know Jalen Green has his thing, and I really like what Saddiq Bey brings. And the fact that he's a great three-point shooter, that's something that this team desperately needs. I think they were like, 28th in the league in three-point shooting. It doesn't work in that league. That's exactly why you only had 23 wins. Once that improves and you find another guy that can do it the way that he does, it's going to get deadly. Now, I'm not saying that they're the next Splash Brothers or anything like that. That's overrated. But you have to have three-point shooting, and he is a massive piece in this team.
Where would you put him if you were ranking in tiers? 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 being the best. Right now, and where could he be?
For the Pistons in general?
Saddiq Bey, yes. Overall.
I mean, for the team right now, he's in tier 1. He's one of the best players.
Okay, not for the team. Now,
overall. What is his ceiling across the league?
Across the league.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty good question because I think tier 2 is a safe bet in my mind. I think he adds a lot of value based on the analytics side of things with the three-point shooting, the defensive impact, his ability to guard big body guys, plus be able to move his feet on defense and guard point guards sometimes. And that's so valuable in today's NBA. And he's not one of these like high flyer athletes, but he is such a solid NBA player because he doesn't care about his own stats. Like, he can go score 51, and then 2 games later, he's 1 of 6 shooting for 8 points. And somebody might think that's a bad thing. In my mind, I'm just saying this dude didn't have to, he saw more value in supporting his teammates this game.
Yeah.
He didn't feel it. He was off, whatever. He moved on. He wasn't concerned about his numbers.
Yep.
He's not in it for the next contract. He's in it to win games. He's in it with his team. The coaches love him. They just praise him.
Fit for what this team is.
He's a fit. He's a perfect 3 to 4th best player on this team.
Could he ever be a tier 1 guy?
I don't think it's in his mentality. I think he's fearless, but it doesn't need it like other guys need it.
Okay. All right.
I think you have to need it to become a tier 1 guy. Like Russell Westbrook, we've talked about. At one point, he was a tier 1 guy only because that was his goal.
He had to have the ball in his hands.
He had to have it. He wanted those triple doubles. He wanted to just have these insane numbers that just don't fit in winning basketball. Well, Saddiq Bey seems to fit like. Again, I'm going to compare him to a Splash Brother. The not Steph Curry, but the other one,
Klay Thompson.
Klay Thompson.
Yeah,
is who he reminds me of.
Knows his role.
He knows his role. And honestly, Saddiq Bey might have a little more of the bite to his game of takeover, and that might be me not
Klay Thompson.
That might
go watch some highlights.
Yeah, Klay Thompson has that. Okay,
yeah,
and that's probably where I'm me not being a basketball guy, but like my perspective is like, all right, you got Steph Curry, and you're never gonna overstep Steph Curry, but maybe he does. I don't know. But
well, and again, I think the selfishness.
Selflessness is
opposite of
good word.
Yeah,
I like that.
That's the most important thing because guys that have egos can be problems, especially if they're not the number 1 choice. And he has no problem just being silent on offense when he's not needed. But he's always out there busting his butt, playing defense, and getting everybody else involved. the one thing I didn't know he had was the ability to create his own shot, and I saw that this year. So good on him. I'm really excited where Sadiq Bey is right now.
The other player that we haven't talked about at all yet is Killian Hayes. He was the first round pick 2 years ago now, I think, or it'll almost be 3 years ago now.
Longest tenured Piston.
It looked very bad early on.
Awful, historically bad.
It looked, it looked like it was going to.
No, historically bad by the numbers for 2 straight seasons.
Not good.
Yeah.
Not good.
But something changed.
Worse than Lonzo Ball.
Something clicked and something changed, and he found his role, which I think is going to be the key with his team, is finding a role and making it work. Now, I don't have numbers that can get all people all excited about Killian Hayes or anything like that, but something changed, and he became a good might be even an overstatement, but one of the most improved players in the NBA this year. From day 30 to where we are at now at day 280 or whatever it is, you know what I mean? Like, that is a massive difference from what we were seeing early on to what we saw at the end of the season. What were your thoughts real quick about Killian Hayes?
Yeah, I mean, I just think a 6'5" point guard who has that kind of passing ability, plays that kind of defense, and is coming off the bench, that's the key.
That was when it really
his season turned around when he went to the bench. The pressure was not on him to perform anymore. He didn't have to go out there and like get hot. He came off the bench. The game was already started. Some of those guys just need to be in the game, like in the rhythm. Even though they're sitting on the bench, they get in and now they're like part of the game. The whole game doesn't start and end with them. So I think Killian really needed that, and he needed the pressure to take off a little bit. K just thrives in that, so he just wanted to own it. Yeah. That's not Killian's personality. So I compared Killian earlier, or maybe even at the end of last year, to Derek Fisher.
Okay.
A guy who who has a lot of impact to the game, but you look at him and be like, why is he beating us? That kind of a guy. I saw Killian Hayes make a big difference, a big impact off the bench, and I'm excited about having him on the team moving forward. I think the upside with him is much higher than so many other players even realize.
Nice. So I did want to set a couple off-season goals, and you tell me if I'm wrong and whatnot, but I just think it's time. My biggest goal is to make this Portland Trail Blazers trade happen. Get younger, get talented, get rid of Jeremy Grant, and give Cade the keys 100%. That's where I'm at. And look, I've been saying it for almost 2 years now with Jeremy Grant. He's not – he served his role, but he's not going to be a piece when this team's ready to win. And I think it's time to swallow that and just make it happen. Now, how do you do it? I don't know. I just think it's a huge opportunity to trade him while somebody still wants him. And, yeah, you could do it at the deadline, blah, blah, blah. But do we really want to go the first 3 quarters of the year still wondering if this Cade Jeremy Grant thing is going to work? No, let's just move on and get the next talent. Let's get 2 top 10 picks and really push this thing in the right direction. Young, hard, it's going to be ugly, it's going to be great, it's going to have all of those things. It's going to be similar to what we saw this year, but it's going to be closer to what we're going to see when this team's ready to win. And that's where that's my vision, is make something happen, get younger, get talent, and really make this skyrocket this thing.
Jeremy Grant off the floor impacted, I would say, Sadiq Bey probably the most. And not even Kate Cunningham, because when the ball is moving and it's not just on one guy to ISO and play, when the ball is moving, that's when Sadiq Bey is at his best. Mm-hmm. And so I agree. I think I see success both ways at this point. I think these young guys will continue to grow up, and if we hold on to Jeremy Grant, fine. I think he actually can make a difference on this team. If we move on from him, great. We get more picks, and somebody else will make a difference for the team. So, yeah, I agree. That is absolutely off-season goal. For, in your mind, trading Grant, I'm fine with it.
All right, so another thing that I want to do, and we kind of talked about the negatives of spending money and bringing in the high-end free agent. I think it's time to spend money. I do. But I don't know the league enough to know on who it is. So my first question to you, Ryan, do you re-sign Marvin Bagley and kind of continue that experiment?
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, he was important in the league. John, do you agree with Marvin Bagley? Did you like what you saw with him?
Yeah, I'm looking at a list right now of free agents for next season in the NBA, and Marvin Bagley is like the third youngest guy on the list, so I think it's a wise investment to put some money into a guy that's young and has still some upside potential.
So would that be your big free agent signing, or can you go even bigger for the right piece, like the right player? Is there somebody that's on your list? You have the list in front of you there that you're like, yeah, that might work with what we're doing, or is this another save the cap space and wait and see how everything pans out? Because I could go either way here. I'm more asking you guys.
Yeah, I think NBA contracts are at like an all-time high right now, so you got to be careful not to overspend for the wrong guy. But there's some good names out there. I don't know. He's low on the list for whatever reason.
Miles Bridges.
That's a name that I keep hearing.
Miles Bridges, yeah. There's a lot of guys that are in that 23, 24-year-old. I mean, if we didn't know what
Spartan talk.
Yeah,
start the timer.
There we go. Yeah, if we didn't know what we were doing at point guard, I mean, Colin Sexton is out there too.
Yeah, score first guy.
Yeah, I think he would be a good fit on this team if it doesn't cut into Cade's.
Yeah, and that's what this team needs is scoring,
yeah.
Right? They need true scorers in this league.
Yeah, I'm actually real surprised to see Miles Bridges so far down, but they do have him ranked at what their salary is right now.
Yeah, that's based on their current salary.
Yeah, so he's on his rookie contract still. So there's a lot of guys out there that are getting paid upwards of $20 million a year. You got guys like Kyrie Irving, Bradley Beal, but I just don't even want to take on those kind of contracts at that age. And what we have is like a nucleus. So.
We don't need to take the ball out of Cade's hands.
Let him continue to develop.
Yeah, I think Miles Bridges is the only one that probably intrigues me more. I don't want. I mean, DeAndre Ayton is another name that people have been talking about. He wants a max contract. I'm not going to pay that guy a max contract.
Don't give anybody a max.
That's not the NBA right now. The reason the Suns are good is because he's their versatile center that can guard, shooting guards or whatever. But what makes them great are their guards.
You'd rather pay a guy like Bagley less and get the same amount of production.
Absolutely. Well, and Bagley is just an interesting example because I don't even know how the Kings mishandled him as badly as they did.
Because they're the Kings.
Because they're the Kings. That's the only answer. It's like the only other team that could make it worse might be the Knicks or something. Or Pistons, I guess people would probably come back and say that. But Marvin Bagley checks so many boxes for us, and he came into this team as now just like one of the guys, not expecting second overall type of production.
Yep.
And he has clear chemistry with Cade Cunningham. His lob threat ability changed Cade's game. That's where his February and March numbers just were extremely escalated because of Bagley's ability, really, the threat of him there.
So then you look at the cap space that they have. I mean, I think I overheard today, and I just heard a glimpse of it, was I think the Pistons will have the highest cap space heading into the season.
Number
potential.
Most
I think they have
likely.
to work some stuff. So like their projected practical cap space is $27-ish million, but their maximum possible cap space is up to $61 million. That's what? 1.5 star players, if you will. Is that what I'm reading here?
One Russell Westbrook. Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Sorry. Thank you.
Yeah. One Westbrook.
Yeah. So this is our chance to go get Russell Westbrook.
Yes, we can get him.
Give him a little raise that he deserves, and his shot that he deserves.
Put him to 52, so we're in the bank.
You could probably get Blake Griffin back too on a deal.
Oh, sounds like a great idea. Let's do it. Do we have to trade for him? Let's trade Cade for him.
I mean, when he wasn't playing and we were paying him $31 million a year, I think he's making like $4.
Can we get Van Gundy back?
Jeez.
Yeah, I think these are all great ideas. Yeah, maybe Blake Griffin could start.
There's just so many good ideas being said right now. Let's just keep it going. No, all right. So what I want to talk about, and this is, I'm going to ask John and Ryan to tell us this time next year, what do you expect we're saying about this Pistons team? Ryan, I'd like you to go first.
Following the season, people are going to expect them to compete for the playoffs next year. I am going to say that we are 1 year away from competing for the playoffs. I think our our draft is extremely important for the long-term success of this team. So we're going to be counting on another rookie to come in and make a big difference. Rookies do not make big differences unless, like you even saw with Evan Mobley this year when Jared Jared Allen went out for injury, his numbers and production plummeted because he was now the shiny new toy, but he didn't need to be the block, the anchor of that defense. When he lost the anchor, now it kind of went south. So I don't think we are going to rely on a rookie year one to combine with all of our second and third year players, young players, to now just start taking the NBA by storm. I think we're a year away from that. So I would say next year, this time, maybe sixth or seventh worst record in the NBA, and probably gearing up for everybody's excited for the following year to compete for playoff spots and make a splash.
All right, John, what do you think?
If Adam Silver could have his way, the Pistons would be a playoff team next year because he wants to expand the play-in game round in the NBA. He wants there to be more teams with a chance to make the playoffs to get these guys to play out a full season. They're having a huge issue in the NBA right now where guys are sitting out key games at the end of the year for rest. And that's something that they have to address. I know they're talking about potentially even shortening the season and adding those 2 additional teams in the East and West for the play-in.
It's
to make it a little more competitive and to give guys a little more time off because they're taking these rest days that never happened. When basketball was a real sport.
Well, you think about the Pistons and they're tanking. You're looking at the Thunder, the Pistons, the Pacers. They're all tanking right now, or they were at the end of the year. So none of the big name guys are playing there. But then also the big teams that aren't going to drop too many spots or whatever, like they're just resting their veterans. So everybody's resting. You're seeing G League guys like crazy out there at the end of the season.
And it's hitting the league at all fronts. It's hurting ticket sales. And, nothing worse than spending money on going to see a game and seeing 3 stars sit on street clothes on the bench. None of them hurt. But that's in a perfect world. So, unfortunately, I don't think they're going to add those 2 additional teams by next year. I don't know how that works in their collective bargaining agreement in the NBA. I don't know. I know that they can just make rules up overnight and give LeBron a fair run at the NBA Finals most years. So, in a non-perfect world, which is what we are experiencing and are used to as Detroit fans, I think they're like Ryan. They're going to just miss the playoffs. I'm optimistic. I want to see them make the playoffs. I always want to see them compete. But if it's best for the organization to, what do they call it in Philly? Trust the process and not make the playoffs one more year. I'm fine with that. But I just want to see Detroit sports back on the climb. Yeah. And I want to see, Little Caesars Arena host some playoff games, whether it's the NHL or the NBA.
8th seed Pistons with Cade Cunningham leading them is different than 8th seed in the playoff Pistons with Blake Griffin leading them.
Yep.
It's different.
That's a really good point. I mean, it still might end up as a 4-game sweep.
Yeah, but it's important, though.
It is. Because it's actually...
It's a step.
It's actually important. Because they talked about that for several years. It's important for this team to sneak into the playoffs and know what they're going to do. And it's no, we were already at our ceiling as sneaking into the playoffs and getting swept. That was our ceiling. If our true core 22-year-old, 22, 23-year-old players are getting that experience, that's when I'm going to buy into that. Yeah, getting swept in the first round is better than missing the playoffs and getting lucky in the draft.
I think back in the day too, it was a huge reward just to make it to the Eastern Conference Finals. Let alone
which we did 7 straight years.
Yeah, let alone
people forget about how good the Pistons were.
Right, let alone the NBA Finals or winning the Finals. Now it's just if you don't win, it's the Finals or bust. It's a championship or bust, and guys are out there just trying to put up stats so they can get these, accolades.
Dwayne Casey's losing his job going to the conference finals, right?
Right.
And that was kind of going to be my last little thought is if this team misses the playoffs again, does he survive it? I'm just I'm trying to wrap my head around the way that you can be okay with. I mean, that would be 3 years, right, of mediocre to poor basketball. How does a coach survive that?
I don't know. Frank Vogel just won a championship 2 years ago, and he had a mediocre year, and he got fired. So it's hard to tell what they're going to do.
Yeah, that's a good point.
If it's craft beer in Michigan sports, we may not be the authority, but we love both like a fat kid loves cake. Hot, hot! This is State of My Sports.
So the last few weeks, we've discussed NFL Draft, which is coming up. I don't know if people know that, but come to our watch party at DeHop's Brewing Company and Cafe. For the first round, we'll be here. We'll have a good time. Hopefully they get their internet fixed and we have a better live stream than what we do today.
What was that? Was that draft party you said?
Draft party, yeah.
Okay. All right.
It looks like it's cutting out. I don't know if that's just my phone, but it looks like it's cutting out a lot. What are you seeing, John?
It's kind of spotty. Yeah, it's recording well on OBS, but on the restream, it's choppy. Yeah.
We need to do a fundraiser for DeHops to get Comcast internet.
Yeah, like
Xfinity.
Fiber or whatever it's called.
20
Fiber?
Megabytes? Anybody?
They're the next wood pole down, guys.
All right, anyways.
On a cable, guys.
We've been talking. Well, we're connected. We're hardwired. That's the problem. That's the hard part. We're hardwired right now.
Yeah,
I'm still struggling. But hardwired. You understand what I'm saying, Ryan?
I got it.
We are hardwired.
What do we do next?
We are going to. So we've been talking about some different positions heading into the draft. This week we're going to talk about linebackers and running backs. Starting with our linebackers, and we're going to do a little different. So what we did was we found Pro Football Network's Oliver Hodkinson's top 5 linebackers in the NFL draft. I was about to say NBA. How often do I do that? Mistake. Yeah. Usually it's.
Maybe we just talked about the NBA too much.
Yeah. Too much. I agree. So like, honestly, I don't know how we want this conversation to go. But basically we want to take his top 5 and kind of discuss it of what we would see as what we would say differently, what would be where our breaking point is, I guess. So Ryan, what do you think? You want to start from just 5 and kind of name them all and just dive into them after that, after we know the top 5?
Yeah, I think so. Let's just get into the Pro Football Network rankings here.
All right, so his top 5 is Channing Tindall from Georgia. He has at number 4 Christian Harris from Alabama, Chad Muma from Wyoming, and then the number 2 he's got Nakobe Dean from Georgia and Devin Lloyd from Utah. So what I want to start with is let's start with the first 3, if you will. The Channing Tindall, Christian Harris, Chad Muma.
So the bottom 3, 5, 4, 3.
Yeah, because in my opinion, and I was watching a lot of film on these guys, so this is I don't dig into it a lot. Like the combine numbers are the kind of the last of my worries, because you could tell me a guy ran a 5.2 and I'd be like, is that good? Like he's 6'3" as a linebacker. All right, is that big? He's 230. I don't know any of those things.
Really? Okay.
So for me, it's I watched the film last night of all 5 of these guys and kind of came up with my own opinion. A couple other guys as well of linebackers, and I wanted to kind of discuss that. So for me, the first thing is I saw a massive drop off when it came from 1 and 2, Devin Lloyd, Nakobe Dean, to kind of everybody else in this draft. And I think we're kind of seeing that a little bit, but you're also seeing Christian Harris and Chad Muma kind of being mocked to that early second round, mid second round type stuff. So when it comes to Channing Tindall, can I give you my thoughts on him?
Yeah, go ahead. Being the number 5 linebacker in the draft.
Number 5 linebacker in the draft. I get the excitement. I get why he would be in the top 5. But again, this is just my perspective, being kind of dumb at the football. I love football, but I don't really know the X's and O's. Like
dumb at the football.
It's tough for me. But what I saw from him is a very good pass rusher, agile, not really the game-breaking linebacker. He reminded me a lot. Here I am as a Lions fan, say to my sports, obviously. He reminded me a lot of Jared Davis. And what the upside of Jared Davis was finding a way to make him become a pass rusher, because that's when he's really good. He reads it well, and he's very good straight line when he has nowhere else to go and nobody really to worry about.
Yeah.
And am I right?
Well, you're like half right and half completely wrong. But
okay,
yeah, go ahead.
Well, tell me where I'm wrong then.
Well, the comparison to Jared Davis is just Jared Davis is a big body. He's a 2-gap linebacker. He's
kind of like I was saying, is like the body size and stuff like that is the furthest thing of my worries.
Yeah.
I guess I was just more looking at the tape, but that's something that I need to know.
But you're 100% right about the straight line athlete. I think Channing Tindall, you're betting on the measurables. That's 42-inch vertical, 4.47 40-yard dash. I mean, he has insane explosive, 129-inch broad jump. So the measurables from combine perspective are off the charts. But what I see on film is a straight line guy who has extreme burst, but doesn't have that ability to kind of move side to side and go around people.
Okay.
Which is very similar to Jared Davis. So I see the comparison. The difference is he's not going to go fill a gap, engage a linebacker, use long arms to like brush off one way or the other, and
he's
take
the type
the
of
guy
that
down.
you want to find a way to release him from other assignments.
He's the athlete in space that you say go get him, and like everybody else does their job, so now he can go do his job.
All right. He kind of fell in line as my personal number 4, and the reason why he was number 4 was because I watched Chad Muma. I didn't see it. And I think this is the exact opposite of you, Ryan, because I think you've kind of been high on him. I watched a lot of highlights of him, and it blew my mind. I would almost put him even outside my top 5.
Yeah,
because I think QA Walker has a little bit of a little, and even Damani Clark from LSU. I watched their films, and I'm like, they seem to be more game-breaking type of players. Chad Muma could probably be a very good linebacker. And this is probably where I have a hard time because I want high-end talent, and I can't really picture the third round. I can't figure out the 3rd to 7th round guys that are very important to building a football team. But like for me, it's high-end. I can see when a guy makes a difference, where I could see that more with a QA Walker and a Damani Clark. It's like I could see that game-breaking type play where Chad Muma was probably just really, really good at his assignments and really good, like, reading football. You know what I mean? Like, stuff that I can't comprehend. Instinct, yeah.
Just the ability to see the field and understand
and that's where,
what's
like,
going
for
on.
me, it's like
diagnose.
Looking at it, I don't see it. I'm just going to have to trust that somebody else knows better than me, which I'm assuming a lot of the guys in the NFL draft process know a little bit more than me.
They're pretty good, and they're also terrible.
Some are.
Some are terrible.
So those are my initial thoughts, kind of starting with Tyndall and Chad Muma. Ryan, you can tell me a little bit about what you're
honestly
thinking.
Going through linebackers. Channing Tyndall to me is maybe 9 or 10.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, I see so much value, and these aren't even guys in my top 5. But I'm looking at like Brandon Smith out of Penn State, Quay Walker out of Georgia. I put Quay Walker ahead of him easily.
Yeah,
No question.
I saw a way better player.
I see the instincts of Quay Walker and the ability to engage blockers and like fill gaps and do a job way more effective than Tyndall. But even like Brian Asamoah and the athletic ability coming out of Oklahoma maybe didn't test, like 4.56 is not slow, but maybe didn't test as well as I thought he would have.
Yeah.
But on tape, I see it. And then a guy like Troy Anderson, who could literally be the best linebacker out of this draft, coming from Montana State. And I get it's Montana State.
I watched that one, and I was like, I didn't see it, but
the measurables are there. So if you're gonna put measurables on the top 5 for Channing Tyndall, then might as well go all the way to Troy Anderson and say this guy has even better measurables.
All right.
So I agree with you. I'm not like sold on this guy. To me, again, he's 9 or 10.
Do you agree with me that the drop off is outside of the 2?
I think there's.
Or do you see a high end talent
I think with the top 2, there's special ability potential, and 3 through 8, I would say, are in this bucket that are just really, really good. I think the linebackers are deep in this draft. I really do. I think you're going to get great production and opportunity out of the 2nd and 3rd rounds of this draft.
So let's talk about his 3 through 5: Muma, Harris, Tyndall. Where would you rank those 3 in order? So let's just say 1 to 3 out of those 3. Who's your favorite out of those 3?
I mean, I have Muma, Harris, and then Tyndall.
You do. Okay.
In the same order, just different orders. Like
Chad
Muma to me. Chad Muma to me is my number 4 linebacker. Number 3 is Leo Chenal.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Like I just see him as
Wisconsin, right?
Wisconsin, yeah. Just like he's just always in the right spot. He can do so many things.
All right. For me, it went Harris at 3, Tyndall at 5 or 4, and then Muma at 5. Sorry.
Okay. So you kept these same guys, just reversed.
I kind of reversed it. And to be honest, I've been really high on Muma and Harris, based on just being what I'm listening to and seeing or hearing, not seeing. I watch and I just look at those 2 guys who are a lot of people are ranking as the 3rd and 4th best wide linebacker behind Nakobe Dean and Devin Lloyd, and I just see the biggest drop off when I watch the film of Devin Lloyd and Nakobe Dean, who I want to get into now, to going to these guys, where I'm like, yeah, if you can get a Nakobe Dean, Devin Lloyd, if Lions can find a way to trade up into the first round, or if one of these guys fall to their second pick in the first round, like that's where I think you can get that talent. But outside of that, like I don't see a massive upgrade at linebacker position when it comes down to outside of these two, is where I'm at. And that's saying a lot when I think.
But I see NFL starters.
Yeah.
But I get your point.
Okay.
Yeah, the top two kind of has separated themselves as the tier one.
And again, for me, it's like I have a really hard time separating myself from being a Lions fan. I look at everything through Lions lenses. That is where I'm at. I'm sorry, but like I will always do that till I'm dead. Is I'm gonna look through at everything through Lions lenses. If I don't think that they're worth taking in the first round, they're almost dead to me. You know what I mean? And it's so unfair, but that's just where I'm at.
Escalated quickly.
I know, right? They're going to take one of these guys in the second round, and I'm going to be so hard about it.
Yeah.
After the draft, people are going to be like, what? You said they were dead.
Yeah,
to you.
but again, like a guy like Jack Sanborn, out of not an elite prospect by any means, but just productive, out of this world, productive for Wisconsin. Even a guy like that, I think can be productive in the NFL, and he might be a 5th round guy.
Yeah.
And then like a Nephi Sewell, like I think he's got a lot to offer. He's a football
Penei
player.
Sewell, brother.
Yeah, he's a football player, absolutely. And I think he could be even a role player or a starter in the NFL. And so I think there's a lot of linebacker quality draft picks out there.
So let's get crazy and say one of these guys fall to the Lions at their 32nd overall pick.
Well, that's high. That's high for a linebacker. That's appropriate for top linebackers.
Nakobe Dean, Devin Lloyd. Heading into this, I've always had in my head Nakobe Dean is the best linebacker. I had that. Like, I basically made up my mind based on what I've heard and gathered watching the playoffs and stuff like that. And then I watched the film. I watched the film last night of Devin Lloyd and Nakobe Dean.
Yeah, what'd you think?
I love Devin Lloyd right now. And it's probably flashiness, and I get that. But one thing that I liked about Devin Lloyd and why I have him as my number one is he plays so violent. And I love that in a linebacker because I think that is something the Lions linebackers haven't had since Spielman, maybe. Or Tulloch. Was Tulloch?
Yeah,
Violence
Tulloch.
and speed.
Tulloch was there. But Devin Lloyd, he plays so violently, so hard. Now, I love that right now. Watching it from perspective where it doesn't matter to me if he hits too hard and gets injured or all of those things. But I love that factor. And I look at that and I'm like, that is something that I would love to see on the Detroit Lions because you don't have that. You have a lot of finesse guys that just kind of do their job and kind of fold into place or wherever the play is going. This guy goes out and makes plays, and he makes plays very fast, very hard. And I love that about him. And I'm saying that, like, I'm not trying to degrade Nakobe Dean because I think it's kind of a 1A, 1B type thing. I think they're both very, very good. But my concern with, let's say, Nakobe Dean is, was he a product of the defense around him? They got Jordan Davis. They have Tavon Walker. They have Lewis Seen. They have a lot of high-end talent on that defense. Was he just another piece that does his job well?
Yeah, I mean, what do they have, like 8 defensive players that are probably getting drafted this year?
In the first or second round,
yeah,
potentially.
So, was it just part of that system?
Exactly.
Like you said?
And I say that with hesitation because is that really a bad thing? It's not. It's actually a really, really good thing, finding a guy that will just do his job. So I don't know. But my concern about the violence of a Devin Lloyd is, can he survive a league like this? Because we've seen that with a lot of the physical linebackers the last couple of years coming out of the draft. They can't do what they did in college because they're getting dinged up a lot quicker than what they have in the past.
Well, and a guy like Nakobe Dean, even though he might not be as physical of a linebacker, he still plays with complete reckless abandon.
He does. Yep.
And he just has complete disregard of his physical, health, right? Like he just throws his body around like crazy.
Yeah.
He's a rocket.
Yep.
He gets shot out. And
he's a little more tactful with his tackling, I would say.
He is. Yeah. He's not going to try to center your body and lay you out, but he's a sure tackler. He's a really good tackler, so I have no problem with that. I couldn't think of two more opposite types of talent coming out of one position group. Like, can you
really?
You look at Devin Lloyd, who's the big, tall, ran a 4.67 40-yard dash, so not like a burner by any means. He has some pass rush ability based on like his length, his arm length, and he legitimately looks like a defensive end, an edge guy when he rushes the passer. Compared to Nakobe Dean, who looks like a small running back, or small, but like a Maurice Jones-Drew or something like that, running through the line and just a bowling ball, and just like taking guys out left and right, who's fast and
I think that's where we have to kind of just.
It's a style.
Yeah, it's a style thing.
It's a fit.
That's a really great way to say it. It's like you got to trust who, and obviously I don't think the Lions are going to get either of these guys. So, but like you look at your team and it's like, which one do you think fits best for your scheme? That's really the difference between these guys is what scheme are you going to run? What are you going to have these guys doing? Because they're both going to be very successful if they fall into the right place, that they're put in the right position to do what they do best.
I don't know. Like, Nakobe Dean was one of the hardest guys for me to evaluate because when you look at his tape, like, he never has to do anything that he's not asked to do. Like, everybody on that defense is so good and is so reliable up front that his role was always was just laid out for him. Like, the defensive linemen were going to stop the run. He could just shoot gaps. He could just be that crazy dude with hair on fire and fill a role and, I don't know, do it better than anybody else. But the 225-pound frame, 6 foot, yes, he's undersized as a linebacker in the NFL. Can that work in today's NFL? 100%, but it's got to be scheme dependent.
Yeah. So, real quick, last thing for the linebackers. Which one do you like best?
I like Devin Lloyd. I think his instincts, the way he, and this is the reason I like Chad Muma too, though. Their instincts, specifically Devin Lloyd, let's just get back to it. He is always in the right spot at the right time. He's one of those guys where if you watch him and he's supposed to be like turned into an edge rusher at that time, he's the one that like disengages from his block because he's reading the quarterback and the tendencies, and then he'll intercept the pass out of nowhere. And he's the guy that, like, as the quarterback is doing his, run option and he's pitching it to the running back, he's reading that play the entire time and disengages and engages the right area in space when needed at most. I think he's going to be the most productive guy in this draft in the NFL just because he knows what's going on. He's smart.
If either of these guys are available at Lions at 32, would you take them?
Only if the Lions take him. That's
a complete until they do, and then they're like,
no,
I like it.
I think I am ill-equipped to make that kind of decision.
That's fair.
I don't know. As a linebacker, I don't know how important the position is. I don't know like how they correspond in their responsibilities with the defensive linemen in space, zone. I don't know. I can't evaluate that. That's not for me to evaluate. I just have to take the coach's word for it at that point.
Love it.
Follow us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and Twitch. State of My Sports.
I think we'll be able to do this one a little bit quicker, but I also took from Pro Football Networks, James Fragoza. Goza. Is it a Goza? Gozy? Goze? John? Is it a Goze or Goza? I knew I was going to catch him off guard.
Joke's on you. I had a little sneeze there a couple minutes ago, and I forgot to turn my mic back on. I don't know. Based off of that menu that I was looking at earlier, I'm going to go with Goose.
El Goose.
James Fragoose. Love it. All right. Running backs. He ranked his top 5 running backs. We'll talk a little bit about his rankings and kind of where we would lay everybody out. I don't want to get too deep into this. I really don't, because I don't think it matters in this league anymore. But his 5.
It does. It matters.
He has Tyler Algier out of BYU.
Algier.
I've heard it both ways.
There's a whole bunch of E's and I's in there, but I think it's Algier.
I've heard it both ways.
Okay.
Number 4, Jerome Ford out of Cincinnati. Number 3, he has Isaiah Spiller out of Texas A&M. Number 2, he has Kenneth Walker III. out of Michigan State.
Who?
Kenneth Walker III. Start the timer.
Start
Michigan
the timer.
State talk.
I just did.
Michigan State talk. And then number 1, so stop the timer. Breece Hall out of Iowa State. Let's go the opposite this time. Let's start at the top. You want to start at the top, Ryan? You give us starting at the top?
Yeah, I'll start at the top.
All right. What do you think about Breece Hall being his number 1 running back?
Yet another difficult guy for me to evaluate. I mean, he surprised everybody at the combine by running like a 4.39 or something out of the running back position. He's giant. He runs. He's like long stride kind of a running back, which is just opposite of what I like. So
it's opposite of what works in the NFL.
Well,
unless you have
Derrick Henry,
unless you have a lot of other attributes, which it
he's
seems
huge.
like he's got a little, yeah.
He's huge. Breece Hall is a giant human. He runs strong. He has 3 years of high productivity, high usage rates. He's extremely consistent. I don't think there's nothing I want to like knock about the guy. He's my number 2 running back because I can't figure him out, but he's definitely not my number 1.
Yeah, so I have him down to my number 3. And in the way I looked at it, and again, I'm more of a film guy, not attributes and like measurables and stuff. But like what I saw was fake flashiness. It just looked like stuff that works in college, but no way in hell will ever work in the NFL. And that's the stuff that he relied on. And he might have the size and the long stride that you were talking about, and that's stuff that I don't see, don't understand. But like what I saw, the
looks
runs,
like he's running in
the
mud.
runs that worked do not work in the NFL, and that's what I saw based on his film last night.
The guy that makes that work in the NFL is Derrick Henry. He looks like a Derrick Henry clone, but he's just not as big and he's not as effective. He's not as fast.
See, is he that big, or is he like? You said he was big, and as I was watching him, I was just like, nothing stood out to me.
6'1", 220 pounds. So a linebacker-ish body, maybe a little small. I doubt he played at that weight. I think he looks bigger on film. But he ran a 4.39 40-yard dash, extremely fast for a running back. 40-inch vertical, 126-inch broad jump. So when people expected him to test out for combine, they were thinking for a 40-yard dash, they were thinking like 4.55 to 4.6 40 time. And he runs a 4.39. So I think the explosiveness is there. It's not the jump cuts. It's not the stop-start ability that maybe some other guys might have. So I think it's real. But I don't like it. It's not my style of running back.
Yep. So the one player that just stood out to me, here I am as a Lions fan again. I looked at him and I was like, in probably a completely different body, probably a terrible example, but he was doing stuff that was so exciting, so flashy, spin moves, really good cuts and stuff. Like, it reminded me of Amir Abdullah, where, that looks really great, but you're literally running 3 yards sideways.
Yeah.
You're doing stuff. You're not gaining forward momentum, period, end of story. Like, that's where I felt like I was watching at least the highlights. Again, I don't watch all of these college football games. I'm a highlight guy and kind of try to gauge what I'm looking at. And what I see is like a lot of stuff that works good against low-end talent college football because he is out of Iowa State. He's not playing real, true defensive NFL defensive talent.
True.
And he's doing stuff that just doesn't work in the NFL, period, end of story, unless you are top 3 talent of all time type stuff. That's what I saw. And I could be wrong.
No, I have a hard time moving him below 2 just because of his measurables. Okay. But I agree. I'm not a big fan of the way he runs. Now, I think he has explosive enough ability to make a difference in the NFL.
It just blows my mind, and what we're kind of turning into is that they wouldn't have Kenneth Walker at number 1.
I know.
I didn't see anything that would say that he doesn't deserve to be. And
there's a lot of Isaiah Spiller ahead of him too.
Yeah. But there's a lot of we're Big Ten guys. Obviously, we sit and watch a lot of the Big Ten. But what he did in the Big Ten this year was absolutely incredible. No question, he's my number 1.
He's my number 1.
Do-it-all running. He's the only do-it-all running back in this draft that I could see. Yeah, you could find maybe somebody in the top 10 that has the ability and will kind of explode on the scene and have that good feel and stuff. But right here, right now, he's the only one that you could say can be a 3-down back in this league, and it doesn't have to be a piece, if you will. He's a do-it-all guy. He's a 3-down guy. He has the ability to be. Will he be? I don't know if that'll ever happen again in a long time as a running back in this league. But he's the closest thing you have to it in this draft. And for me, that's what I care about. Because I'm not drafting 2 guys. I'm drafting 1 guy.
Kenneth Walker has the stop-start cut ability, not a Barry Sanders, but like a guy like the Eagles' former running back a long time ago. He played for the
Westbrook?
No. Frack. LaShawn McCoy. He, to me, cuts.
Okay.
He has the breaking ankles ability like LaShawn McCoy when he needs it. Does he bounce it off outside too often? I don't know. It seems to work all the time. So I'm not going to fault the guy for being good and having a lot of production. And let's not pretend this is his only production. Before he got to Michigan State, he had very productive years just without the volume. Mm-hmm. And so I hear some arguments like, is he a one-hit wonder? Okay, so if guys play too many reps in college, they're saying they don't have any tread left on the tires. And then if they don't play enough, they say, oh, well, he's got plenty of tread left on the tires.
We haven't seen enough yet.
We haven't seen enough. Yeah, maybe a one-hit wonder guy. Like, pick a lane. Choose what you think is important. I think he's a great balance of somebody who demonstrated the workhorse ability in college, doesn't have the overall mileage on him. So great. He's like kind of perfect in that regard in my mind. Also, his knock is that he's not a receiver. He was never asked to be a receiver. When I see him catch balls out of the backfield, he looks natural. I'm not going to say he can't catch a 4-yard pass.
I'm sorry, but
everybody can.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you can't, that's really embarrassing.
Is he a special guy like maybe Aaron Jones that can line up one-on-one on the outside? No. Not many guys do that. So stop pretending you need him to do that. Exactly. Yeah. So hands down to me, he's my number 1. He's big, strong. He seeks contact. He avoids contact. He's LaShawn McCoy mixed with some like DeAndre Swift actually is the guy that to me just seems has that.
Not necessarily coming out of college. DeAndre Swift?
The DeAndre Swift on the line.
That we've seen.
He looks like DeAndre Swift to me with maybe more of like a desire to move forward.
And I just see a poor man's, and this sounds like bad, but a poor man's Adrian Peterson, where he
doesn't run like Adrian Peterson.
There's something about him that reminds me of him, though. I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
Is it the standing up? Maybe the
he runs high.
Yeah, he runs high, and that's probably what it sticks out to me. And
how important? Wow. How important is this position of need for you guys, do you think?
It's not there. It's a luxury if somebody falls.
For the Lions or for the league?
For the Lions.
Yeah, it's not a position that we need to prioritize in the draft.
But
if we get a guy that could contribute, then 100%.
Yeah.
Okay.
But anyways, that's kind of where I'm at with the running backs. It was a little weird. You get the Isaiah Spillers of the world that are saying, that
look,
they're saying is better than Kenneth Walker, and I don't see that, but I do see it over a Breece Hall personally because he reminds me of DeAndre Swift a little bit.
Breece Hall,
yeah. And this is where I look at the game completely different. And this is where I feel so uncomfortable with myself. Like, Ryan doesn't agree with me. Like, what am I seeing?
Shouldn't have said that.
All right, whatever. I just see the missability is what I thought. But
no, Isaiah Spiller, no, he's not in my top 5.
No.
I don't see why people love him so much. I don't see an explosiveness. I don't see. You know what I think it really is just college production. And sorry, when I watch somebody, I'm not gonna just base it on only production. And I don't see the top end speed, the breakaway speed. I don't see the breaking tackles. I don't see the jump cuts. I don't see the explosiveness, acceleration. He literally gets the yards that the offense designed for him. So yes, do you have a spot in the NFL? Sure. Yep, you do. You can play in the NFL. Are you going to be a high draft pick? Not for me, no.
How about James Cook or Brian Robinson?
James Cook is number 4 on my board. Okay. Yeah, what do you think?
James Cook was I think he should have been he was going to be in my top 5 over Jerome Ford and Tyler Algier.
Yeah, good. I'm glad.
The man has done damage all year long.
So Isaiah Spiller, number 3. No, I'm sorry, off the board. I don't see where that's coming from. My number 3 is Damian Pierce out of Florida.
Really?
And if you watch this guy run, to me, he is he's almost like a James Robinson, where he seeks contact and just like is the try hard type of guy, but also the running back out of from the Chicago Bears. What's his name? David something? No.
Montgomery.
Yes, David Montgomery.
Yeah, so Montgomery just like seeking contact, is a miss a lot of the backfield. Is he going to break away an 80-yard touchdown run? No, he's not going to do that. But Damian Pierce to me is 100% running back. Seeks contact, not afraid of anything. I saw him on Pro Day on the Senior Bowl second day. They lined him up at the end of the day against a linebacker, and he locked up with him, and he shouldn't have won that battle. And he went one-on-one at the end of the day. And I saw Dan Campbell watching that play, just like with a smile on his face. Like, I think this is a guy that the Lions really like, Damian Pierce.
Where can they get him?
3rd round, probably.
You all right with that?
Yeah, 3rd round or maybe even 4th if he starts to fall. Right. I think if you watch him run, though, he's not going to fall much farther than that because he makes guys miss. He's tough.
Cool. So, real quick, who is your top 5?
Yeah,
Kenneth Walker.
I just have Kenneth Walker, Breece Hall, because Breece Hall is the one I have no idea where I'm going to put him because I think has higher upside than Damian Pierce. But then I have James Cook because he is a gifted runner that people are sleeping on.
I agree with that.
He is. I think he sees the field better than anybody gives him credit for.
What about Rashad White?
Rashad White out of what? Where?
I didn't write that down. I watched.
I'm not familiar, so that's on me for not going deep enough. But Pierre Strong out of North Dakota State University, he's my number 5. Go watch him. He's a man child. He's going up against lesser competition out of North Dakota State. Doesn't matter. Tested out well. Big, strong, good runner.
From the Red Wings to Michigan State, we're talking about it. This is State of My Sports.
All right, that was some good draft talk, but here we are.
Rashad White's out of Arizona State.
Thank you. Oh, sorry, that was the wrong one. Draft.
Mock draft?
Oh, dang it. Draft music.
Hey, we did it.
All righty. I forgot to ask Micah to draw names out of the hat. But Micah, since you are gone, you will get the first overall pick.
Oh,
eeny, meeny, miny, mo.
We're going to make
You
Ryan.
set me up for failure?
Ryan deserves the 3rd overall pick, I'm going to say.
Where are you, Sam? 2nd?
I don't know. Should I be 2nd or 4th?
You can take 2nd. I won the golf thing.
All right. I'm going to take 2nd.
I'll take the back-to-back picks.
John's taking 4th.
I must have gotten 2nd on that golf thing, right?
You want to switch it up?
No.
Do you want 2nd overall pick?
No. I got 3rd.
All right. So what we're doing is our NBA adopted team draft, like we always do. Real quick, I want to talk about some of the odds. You got Phoenix Suns are the favorite at plus 275, Milwaukee Bucks at plus 500, and the Brooklyn Nets, who's in the play-in tournament, whatever that thing means, at plus 650. Golden State 800, Celtics 900, and Philadelphia's 76ers plus 1,000. Miami Heat, who was they won the East, right?
Number 1 seed.
Plus 1,000. So I could tell you guys more, but instead we're just going to do our draft to save some time, if that's cool with you.
Nice.
So Micah, you are on the clock, and you get to draft the first NBA team.
Can I tell you more before the pick?
Tell me more what?
Oh, the Nets won tonight.
The Nets did win.
So
Beat
cross
the Cavs?
Yeah, cross Cleveland off your list.
Well, they're still in it, though. They still could be in it.
What?
Don't they play somebody else?
I
like
think
Friday?
they play another game.
Yeah, they'll play another game.
Oh, they play the
to
loser?
become the 8 seed, yeah.
Oh, jeez.
It's really goofy. I tried to understand it. My boss, Jeff, was trying to explain it to me, and I just said, yeah, I get it.
Oh.
Just because I didn't.
Well,
at this point, honestly, I think it's stupid. I don't like it, and I don't want to learn it because I think they should get rid of it, personally.
Oh, so they would play the winner of Charlotte and Atlanta?
Sounds right,
Or
yeah.
loser?
The
No,
winner,
they're in.
The loser.
No, the
of it.
Nets are in.
The Nets are in.
Nets
The Nets are in, and now
But Cleveland will play the loser.
the winner,
The winner
of
to
the
become the
other
8 seed.
two.
To
Yeah.
become the 8 seed.
Yeah.
That's why I didn't.
Oh my gosh.
It's
All right.
very confusing.
Anyway,
very stupid.
Forget the NBA.
No,
Forget
we
the
have-
NBA.
no,
Yeah, let's just
Good
pick our
job.
teams.
My pick is in.
All right. Oh, yeah, there we go.
Phoenix Suns.
Very nice.
Knew it.
All right, might as well.
Good choice.
All right, my pick's in. With the second overall pick, Sam selects the Milwaukee Bucks. Back to back, baby.
This is tough. You did this on purpose.
What?
You did this on purpose because the top 2 picks are pretty good bets.
Yeah, and I didn't want you to have back to back picks.
They're actually not the greatest bets in Vegas, but you're right.
Yeah.
You could win more with the same bet.
Yeah. All right. I guess with the third pick, my pick is in. Oh,
I mean,
man. Warriors are not been playing good, especially with Steph
he said the
Curry
Warriors.
injured.
All right, Warrior.
Nope.
Oh, that was your
Nope.
first
Nope.
word?
I'm going out on a limb here. My first pick here.
Don't do it.
I know what you're doing.
Dang nabbit.
I'm
Don't.
going to Memphis Grizzlies.
Whoa, that's not who I was expecting.
You did take one of my teams. Nice.
John, back to back picks.
My first back-to-back pick is in. I'm also going to go on a limb here. And I'm going to pick the Philadelphia 76ers with my first pick.
That's who I thought you were going to take, Ryan. I really thought you were going to take the Sixers.
I don't want them.
You don't like them.
James Harden. See ya.
Assuming your pick's in.
My pick is in. On a further limb, give me the Dallas Mavericks.
I was no freaking way.
Oh.
I wasn't. Yeah. Luka can do a lot.
It's his time to take over.
Yeah.
So they're at plus 3,000. Ew. $10 bet will win you $310. John, you already put your bracket money where your mouth is?
50 on Luka. If I would have put 50 on Scotty, I would have won 640.
So my pick is in. If I'm going to bet on hero ball from anybody, I can't go Warriors because Steph is injured. I can't go Celtics because I don't think they're going to do it. I have to go with Brooklyn Nets. They have too much firepower with Kevin Durant as a bad seed. Taking the Nets.
My God. Or no, it's me. Sorry. Alrighty then.
He put the pressure on himself.
My pick's in.
Thought so.
I'm going to take
He's still deciding.
the Denver Nuggets
Oh, really?
because of so many reasons that I don't have time to explain.
Not the Cavs or the
Let's just go
Pelicans?
3 rounds today. You guys good with 3 rounds instead of 4?
No, let's keep going.
You want to go 4 rounds?
Keep it going.
Yeah, all right. We're going to keep it going, but I just crossed out the 4th round. But I can rewrite it. But Mike, you're on the clock.
Picks in. Give me South Beach, baby. Miami Heat.
Yeah.
It's a good pick.
He's taking his talents to South Beach.
Number 1 seed of the East.
Back to back, Micah.
Picks in.
Go ahead.
Tell him to stop pressing the button, please.
Who's your next pick?
Golden State.
Really?
Yep.
Thought I'd get him round 3. All right.
My pick's in. Jazzy.
Whoa.
Oh, no. He did not Jazz hands.
The Nuggets and the Jazz.
Wow.
It's like
There's
the
0% chance I'm going to
literally
take the
the same team.
Celtics.
You have a 100% chance of losing in the second or third round.
Yep. One of my teams, though.
Yeah, well, both. Yeah. Oh, that's great. My pick is in.
Your team might not even make the playoffs.
They're playing too well right now. I don't like them. Actually, I don't like them at all. But I'm gonna go with the Celtics.
Ryan, big Celtics fan.
Yeah.
Big Celtics fan.
Heard it here
That's
first.
what I heard.
Man, I think like getting the 4th pick out of us 4 is like a disadvantage. I mean, there's only like 2 teams that are really going to win. All right, I got back-to-back.
Yeah.
All
Well,
right.
are we doing 4? We're doing 4?
Yeah, let's do it. Why
We'll do
not?
4. Might as well. We're still under 2
Yeah,
hours. maybe.
100%.
I'll have 3 garbage teams. You know?
I'm throwing my stuff again. Oh, did you say your picks in?
I'm on another limb here, but the Chicago Bulls. I like what DeMar DeRozan's doing.
So why don't you take him with your first pick?
I wanted that value at 3.
Yeah. They were number 1 in the East for a long time.
Yeah, they were. They
Playing
were.
awful right now.
Yeah.
All right, your second pick's in.
Oh, I got to go with a second Western Conference team, I think, right? Because I already got 2 Eastern. I don't know. Give me. They're playing tonight. I can't pick either of those teams without knowing the outcome.
That's why I said like let's just get rid of the 4th round.
Oh,
like there's
man,
none of these teams are
No,
gonna
no,
win.
no. These are good teams.
I know. Can I look real quick at the updated box score? Hold on. Give me a second.
Whoa.
Yeah, I need the advantage. All right. Dang.
Who you got?
My pick is in
Yeah, I already pushed the button.
again. Give me the Clippers, I guess.
Clips.
I really wanted to go T-Wolves there. I'm not going to lie.
I mean, T-Wolves are a sneaky bet there. But my pick is in. Going with the Scotty Barnes-led Toronto Raptors.
Hey, they have an advantage, home court advantage when unvaccinated players.
Yeah. That's exactly
Can't
what I'm
play
going
there.
with them. Yep.
My pick's in.
Unfair advantage.
I'm gonna go with Trae Young and the Atlanta Hawks.
Hey, they made the conference championship last year.
Nice.
My teams are set.
Pick is in. Timberwolves, baby.
T
Thank you.
Wolves.
Nice.
Well, have fun winning that, Micah.
Watch
Suns,
the Timberwolves
Suns
win.
Heat, Warriors, T-Wolves. He's going to lose.
I think we're all gonna lose except for one.
Yeah, something tells me the Bucks are looking good.
Because I took them.
Well, yeah, that's the reason. That was fun.
Was it?
Yeah,
I
liked
thought it was. I can't wait for the NHL one. That's always really fun.
Yeah,
Because you can get some crazy teams winning the Stanley Cup. Bless you.
thank you. And they have playing games too, right? They must
No.
have. Oh,
They
okay,
play
got
actual
it.
real-
Oh, it's real playoffs.
Real playoffs.
Got it. All right.
Do they have overtime or a shootout? Or is it overtime then a shootout?
Just overtime, all the way
Overtime.
through in the
Oh.
playoffs.
I love those late like West Coast Conference games that go in overtime.
And they
it's
go to like 2 o'clock.
yeah, it's like the next day.
Oh,
you know,
so
just can't turn it off because it's good hockey.
I literally lose probably 12 hours of sleep
A week
a week
playoff
because
hockey.
of playoff hockey.
What are we going to talk about next?
Follow us on Instagram, Facebook,
Instagram,
Twitter,
Facebook,
YouTube,
Twitter.
and Twitch. State of My Sports.
Brian, can you explain Betting Hero in like 20 seconds?
Yeah, bettinghero.com, promo code MIBETS.
What does Betting Hero bring to this world?
Money.
Yeah, so their sports betting platform. They bring all of the available legal, whatever you want to call it, in options for online sports betting in the state of Michigan. So everybody has an opportunity. Go to promo code MIBETS. Go to the put in bettinghero.com and you're all set.
Yeah, just bet on sports. This is what you got to do. Last week, my Wednesday parlay.
Literally
I put
won.
a 5-leg parlay on the line at plus 14.34. I had the Jets minus 1.5 over the Wings. Wings won 3-1. That was a massive loss. Blues minus 1.5 over the Kraken. Blues 1. I got that one. Nets money line. Got that one. Durant over 29.5. I got that one. Over 2.5 threes. 2. That was a loss. He was 2 of 10 for 3. He did it again today. Stop betting on Durant over 2.5 threes, Sam. I should get that tattooed on my fingers so when I'm typing in my bets, I'm like, nope. Oh, no, I'm not supposed to do that. Nope, can't. Don't bet on Durant over 2.5 threes.
He's a jump shooter now.
That would be your first tattoo. I would recommend it.
Yeah, now I'm 2-6 on my Wednesday parlays. But, hey, these are tough. The payouts are there. So winning 2 of 8 is not that bad if you do it right. So tomorrow, Blue Jackets, money line against the Canadians. Rangers, money line against the Flyers. Jets, minus 1.5 against the Kraken. I got the Hawks, money line over the Hornets. And Trae Young over 28.5 points, I'm hoping. And over his threes, which will probably be 2.5. Is my guess. Got it. It's usually where it's at. So that is...
It's not bad.
My Wednesday parlay. Let's get into our beer grades for today.
Let's do it.
What are we drinking today, Micah?
Juju Smith Lager.
Juju Smith
I forgot
Lager.
Not what we were drinking for a minute. Sorry. This unique lager takes the traditional light body and refreshing qualities of traditional lagers and combines it with white wine, fruit, and grape profile of the Hallertau Blanc hops for a nice and juicy brew. Dry hopped for an extra burst of flavor and aroma. It's a 5%er. What do you guys think?
A lot of flavor for a lager. We already talked about it. It stuck with me. It was really good.
I agree about the wine thing too. Like once you're aware that it's there, then you can appreciate it.
John, do you appreciate it?
I do. I appreciate it so much. I gave it a 7.7.
Ryan?
8-1. What was that?
Micah?
7.6.
That was weird.
What was that?
I don't know. He's getting all weird.
I was trying to do like a fake thing.
I think they call that
fake that I was going to ask you, but then I was going to give mine grade quick, and I just screwed it up.
I think it's called like nonverbal communication.
But there was no eye contact.
I read about it once.
It's just like weird. We need to clip that. We don't clip things.
Let's remember that never happened.
Too bad I switched the camera angles. Sam's not in the picture.
Yeah. Sam had a moment with himself.
No, I think you guys are kind of spot on with your 7.6, 7.7 grade, but I'm gonna go 7.8.
Huh. Nice. I think that kind of thing, just like the weird, moment that you just had with Micah, that kind of happens in a Joe Rogan style podcast like this.
Does it?
Yeah, like
just straight no
4
cuts.
hours. Yeah, nobody ever stops.
He had a moment with me.
Mushrooms.
4 hours? We're only like an hour away.
We're only at 2 hours.
What are we at?
I don't know, but if we talk about kickers in the NFL draft, we might get there.
It's next week.
Next
week,
at?
kickers.
Special team?
No, I mean next week is our last. Is that our last episode before the draft, or is we got 2 more?
2 more.
2 more.
Draft is on a Thursday night.
Next week, you know where we're at?
No.
I haven't told you yet. Have I told you yet, John?
I heard it, but I didn't write it down or put it in my calendar.
White Flame.
White Flame.
We are at
cool.
White Flame Brewing. It's been a lot of time in the
nice.
a lot of work in the making.
We got one last beer grade.
Yes.
Oh yes, beer grade.
Coming
a lot
in.
of time in the working.
It's been hours since we had a chat. Thank you, Carrie, for staying up with us.
3.5.
I hope you got the weather report for tomorrow and traffic doesn't get you in the way to work. Max Power Lager from DeHop's Brewing. A solid lager, 7.9.
Nice.
Wait, that's a lager?
That's a 10.2%.
Is that a lager? Look on there. Is that a lager? Max Power?
I'm not
It's
finding
a
it on
Belgian Golden Strong Ale.
Oh.
Strong.
Strong ale. Strong arm.
Strong. Maximum
Ales
strong
and lagers
power.
are similar, though.
10.2.
I'll give it to her. 10.2% alcohol by volume.
It's heavy.